What's going on, fellow A-Plusers? It's your boy, Adam Perez. We are back once again with a brand new live episode of A-Plus Hero Report, your weekly stop for your Marvel, DC, television, and movie news, streaming live for you guys today. We got 6 incredible topics we're going to be talking about today, honorable mentions, your live viewer questions, and so much more. So sit back, relax, enjoy the show, and I'll see you guys on the other side. What's going on, fellow A-Plusers? It is I, your host, Adam Perez. I am back once again with a brand new video for you guys today. We are live, baby. Let me know how everything's looking for you guys today. If my video or my audio is a little janky, certainly go ahead and let me know. We wind up getting some new internet here, so I'm trying to see how the connection is going to be for most of today's episode. So wish me luck. If anything, I do have. Let me get this. There we go. If anything, I do have my backup on my cell phone if I need to jump in on another camera, because sometimes it doesn't take up as much bandwidth when I use it through my phone. But I'm using my webcam today, so we'll see how this episode goes. But yeah, if I'm a little off, somebody let me know. I can go ahead and easily pull up my cell phone coverage if I need to use my cell phone as my camera today. But hopefully everybody's doing fantastically well. It is I, your host, Adam Perez. We weren't here last weekend. It was, in fact, the girlfriend's birthday, so I decided to go ahead and hang out at the house, not really do much of anything besides celebrate the girlfriend's day. But other than that, we are back, ladies and gentlemen. We probably got, I believe Stuart said he plans on coming back in February. I don't know if that means next weekend or the following weekend, but I'll definitely keep you guys posted in regards to that. I know Stuart's definitely had a couple things he's had to get ready for himself. I think he's got a couple big things happening this summertime, so he's definitely got to prepare. So it's just myself today. I didn't have the opportunity ahead of time to go ahead and get a co-host. So hopefully next weekend I'll have a co-host for you guys. I've been trying to see if I can get Indy back to co-host. I even threw out another invitation to Will. Maybe I'll see if I can throw an invitation out to Crystal also. But you guys let me know. Who you certainly would like to see on here. I'm trying to get my boy Jonathan to certainly come back. He wasn't doing too well this weekend, feeling wise. Like I guess he was under the weather, whatever the case may be. So it's just me today. I hope that's certainly more than fine for you guys, though. But look, as we go through these main topics, remember at the end of the day, these are simply just my A-plus opinions. I always want to know yours. So let your thoughts be known in regards to each of these particular topics. Feel free to discuss them with me in the live chat. We are currently live. So if you want to throw in or add to the conversation, I would certainly love that, because it's just me here. And the idea of kind of just talking to myself is kind of boring. So I would love some opportunities to bounce some things off of you guys today. So feel free to let your thoughts be known in the live chat or the comment section box after this video winds up airing. We got a couple of great topics that I'm really eager to go ahead and talk with you guys about today. So it should be an interesting one, to say the least. I'm trying to think if I actually even have all of the things up that I wanted to talk about. I do believe so. Let me just get this pull up this last story here, and then we should be pretty good to go. Let's give some shout outs to people that are showing up live for us today. We got Ricky Perez in the house. Saw the official trailer for the Muppet Show special event with more clips. That's right, I forgot there is a Muppet Show. I did see that they dropped a poster for it. I didn't get the opportunity to check out the trailer itself. I think I saw Seth Rogen was going to be part of it. Is Sabrina Carpenter involved? Maybe I saw something incorrectly, but I did see the poster. It looks great. It's been a while since I've actually been invested in anything Muppet related. I used to watch the Muppet Babies growing up as a kid. That was a fantastic show back in like the 90s or late 80s, maybe. I can't quite remember, but Yeah, it's been a minute since I've actually watched Muppet anything. Also Sunday they're doing the Golden Globe Awards. K-pop Hunters wins Best Feature Animated and Best Original Song. Yeah, we're actually going to be talking a little bit about the Oscars today, as the Oscars dropped some of their nominations here this past week. I didn't pull all the categories, but I pulled 10. I think they might be like 15, 16 categories. I'm not quite sure, but we're going to go over some of these categories together. Last week, Starfleet Academy premiered on Paramount Plus, and episode one was amazing. Yeah, I think there was a two-episode premiere, if I'm not mistaken, episodes 1 and 2, or maybe they released both episodes. I don't know if they released a third episode or not. But I like what I'm seeing so far. Color scheme wise, it looks gorgeous. I mean, just the lighting looks gorgeous. Sometimes there's a little bit too many lens flares for me, almost like they're trying to imitate JJ Abrams a little bit, but there are definitely a couple of characters that are really sticking out to me. Their new captain, I'm a big fan of hers. Her number one, the Klingon with the blue kind of blue hue to her complexion. I'm a big fan of them also. It might take me a little while to get used to some of the teenagers and the hormones that are certainly going on. But outside of the hormonal aspect of Starfleet Academy, I am enjoying what I'm seeing so far. So we'll see how it goes, but I think I'm on board. We also got Blast Off first look commercial spot on the upcoming Supergirl, and it was amazing. Yeah, we'll talk a little bit about one of the teaser spots that we wind up getting here this week. Also, I saw the first look 1 minute spot for Pixar's upcoming Hoppers, and it will be arriving in March. I still have yet to see a trailer for that. Also, the final Avengers Doomsday teaser trailer, Black Panther Wakanda meeting the Thing from the Fantastic Four. Yeah, that dropped last week, and we didn't get the opportunity to talk about it on Hero Report because we didn't have our live episode. But I will say I did enjoy it for sure, to get to see Black Panther along with M'Baku greeting the Thing from the Fantastic Four, Wakanda. I'm from Yancey Street. I actually thought that worked out relatively well. So I'm eager to kind of see what it's like. All the big events happen in Wakanda at this point in time. What else we got? Finally, today, Nintendo Direct released the exclusive first look trailer at Mario and Luigi's Fire Form. That's right, they did drop a brand new trailer for Super Mario Galaxy movie. I have not had the opportunity to check it out for myself. Maybe I'll go ahead and pull it up real quick for honorable mentions if my internet connection certainly allows me to. But that might be something that we actually try and watch today. We'll use that as our compass, as our training ground here, because again, I don't know exactly how well my internet connection is going to be for that, but we might play a couple of trailers here for you guys today. We got Kiki and Luca in the house. Appreciate you coming through. Marcelino says, if you're running solo, I'm unsubscribing. It's like a running gag now for Marcelino. I'm pretty sure I'm down one subscriber right now. We got Peg C. What's going on, Peg C? Good to see you, buddy. Always coming through. We got Indy himself. What's up, chat? He says, we appreciate you coming through, Indy. Hopefully we can get you on next week. Be my co-host while Stewart is certainly out. Peg C says, I just watched the new trailer for Super Mario Galaxy movie. Yeah, maybe I'll have to try and see if I can find it here. We got Zach in the house. What's up, Zach? I'm not sure if I've seen you around these parts before. Maybe I have, but if you are new here, we really appreciate you certainly coming through, man. Thank you so much. Feel free to throw any chats or whatever the case may be inside of the they also released a brand new poster for it also. Let me see. Yeah, we do have a trailer here. Give me a second though. Let me see if I can get this can I even hear this thing? No, let me try. It's not these trailers. I don't know why. Let me try one more other thing here. Yeah, for some reason I can't hear the audio on this thing. Oh, hold on. There we go. Sorry, I had to change some settings. I think we're good now. I think we're good now. He also says, Pexy says the new teaser trailer for Super Space Sheriff Gavin looks amazing. I have not had the opportunity to check out the Space Sheriff Gavin one though, but we'll see. We'll see if we got some time today. If not, I'll definitely check it out on my own time for sure. But again, if for some reason we're having difficulty with my stream, webcam wise, let me know. I do have my cell phone as a backup if we need to. But now that we've gotten that out of the way, guys, let's go ahead and kick off this show with our first segment of the day. All right, and we've got honorable mentions. For those of you who are not familiar with the show, honorable mentions is pretty much the portion of the show in which we talk about topics that didn't quite make our top 10, but our top six topics for us to talk about today, but that we felt you certainly still deserve to know about it. So let's see what we got here for you guys. This week, we actually got ourselves our very first look at, or a brand new look, I should say, at Supergirl. There was a new small little teaser that dropped, maybe like 30 seconds or so. But in that teaser trailer, we got our very first look at none other than Lobo, baby. That's right. Jason Momoa as Lobo finally has appeared. Nice, they weren't hiding his face in deep shadows or anything like that. We got the opportunity to see him actually on his bike, revving it up with the flames all around him, sort of thing. Getting the opportunity to see a nice little close-up shot of his face, smoking a cigar, laughing, and things like that. And they also went ahead and dropped this promotional image of Jason Momoa as Lobo as well to go ahead and get a much better look at him. Look, he looks great, man. I don't think any of us had any doubts going into this movie that he wasn't gonna look great. Just the laughter that we see from him in this brief teaser trailer that we wind up getting was certainly worth it. I think he's gonna absolutely nail this role. He might be the best looking Lobo design that we've seen so far. I feel like their iterations of live action Lobos just continue to get better and better. And this one is certainly no exception. So I'm really looking forward to this. But yeah, we did get the opportunity to see Jason Momoa this week officially as Lobo. Look, we do have the Super Bowl coming up here relatively soon. I am kind of curious as to maybe like what trailers, what teasers we might get. It wouldn't surprise me if the teaser trailer that they just showed today of or this week of Jason Momoa as Lobo, it wouldn't surprise me if that's the same teaser trailer that they wind up dropping, say, come the Super Bowl also. It was like a 30-second little advertisement sort of thing. So it wouldn't surprise me if, for DCU at least, if they wind up dropping that for the Super Bowl just to hype up their next upcoming DCU movie. Because I believe Supergirl's in what, June, July, or something like that. So it wouldn't surprise me. I also am expecting, I've heard some people talk about the notion of dropping like a Doomsday trailer for the Super Bowl. It feels a little bit early to me, if I could be quite honest with you. So, I mean, who knows? I think the first movie out of the gate for them is going to be Spider-Man. So, if there's any trailer that I'm kind of expecting at Super Bowl weekend, it would be a teaser trailer for Spider-Man, just because technically at that point we're going to be what, like 4 5 months out from the movie itself and no trailer whatsoever. So I have a feeling that they might be holding off the Super Bowl for their Spider-Man trailer, like the official teaser trailer. Maybe there's like a 10-second or 15-second Avengers Doomsday thing, but that movie is like an entire year out. If I'm Disney, I don't necessarily know if I use the Super Bowl to highlight Avengers Doomsday so far in advance. But I definitely do think for Spider-Man, you certainly do. Avengers Doomsday would just be a bonus, but I think if anything from the MCU is going to be highlighted during the Super Bowl, it might in fact be Spider-Man Brand New Day. So I expect Spider-Man Brand New Day and maybe that first look teaser for Lobo in the upcoming Supergirl movie might make the cut. Might make the cut. We'll see. PCW. What's up, PCW? PCW. PCW. Says Lobo looks sick, yo. Yeah, I'm a big fan of the design that they've come up with for him. Kiki and Luca in the house. I'm actually excited about Supergirl, but not sure about its box office prospects. Yeah, we'll definitely have to wait and see how it does box office wise. I mean, I would assume it would certainly build off of the momentum that Superman wind up having. So if I'm, I guess it would just depend, right? Like, maybe some studios would expect because Superman made as much money as it did, Supergirl should make more than that. Um, I don't want to say Supergirl's not a household name. Most people do know her. She did have just a 5 season CW show, so it's not like Supergirl hasn't been prominent as of late. I do think some people were pretty impressed, or at least were pleased with Millie Alcock's sort of cameo, and it is a great way to kind of lead into it. Do I think Supergirl needs to make the same type of money as Superman? Probably not, but if it can get relatively close, I think it should be okay. I am kind of curious as to what the budget on that movie is. I have heard it is less than what they did for Superman. So we'll see. We'll see. All I think for me, really, as long as it's well received and it makes some level of profit, I think they should be happy. But we'll see. Blossom in the house. What's up, Blossom? Appreciate you coming through. Says I just hope it's written well. Yeah, I'm hoping Supergirl is written well also. Let's see here. What else do we got for you in regards to honorable mentions? Oh, this just popped on my feed earlier today. Thanks to Indy mentioning it in our chat. But apparently Dragon Ball Super, the anime, is set to return. They had two big announcements as of yesterday, I believe. This is from Polygon. Fans of Dragon Ball rejoice. Shenron has granted your wishes. Announced at a particular event the celebration for Dragon Ball's anime 40th anniversary. The sequel series will pick up again with Dragon Ball Super: The Galactic Patrol. Production on production on Dragon Ball Super, The Galactic Patrol is underway. No release date has been announced. Given the nature of this weekend's announcement, it doesn't sound like the Galactic Patrol will be released anytime soon. However, fans won't have to wait long to get more Super on their screen because there is a remake of the first part of the anime that was also announced, titled Dragon Ball Beerus. It will air in the fall of 2026. So wait a minute. So we already have the Dragon Ball Super movie that introduces us to Beerus. What was that? Something of the gods or something like that. I can't remember what it was now. And then we have the first arc already of Dragon Ball Super, of that same story played out in like the first few episodes of the season. So they're like remaking it again. There is a trailer here. I don't feel like going through this trailer here, but it's kind of crazy that they're going to be doing it again. But yeah, conversely, details of Dragon Ball Super: The Galactic Patrol anime were scant, but they revealed a visual for the series. Oh, Battle of the Gods was the original movie. So yeah, it looks like they're picking up. Um, it says now fans of the most popular franchise in the world can breathe a sigh of relief. It will adapt the story set after the Universal Survival arc. Son Goku and Vegeta work together with members of the Galactic Patrol, the Peacekeepers of the Galaxy, to take on a new enemy, Planet Eater Moro. Ooh, a Planet Eater. Okay, I'm on board now. That's what I'm most excited for. Not the Dragon Ball Z Super Beer stuff, but the Dragon Ball Super: The Galactic Patrol. I've been waiting for this anime to certainly pick back up. And it looks like we're gonna be getting ourselves some episodes. So yeah, who knows when it's gonna be released, but they definitely have big plans for it. So we'll see. We'll see how it turns out. Um can I work this? Give me a second here. Okay, let's see if I can get this Super Mario thing to work. And do this at the same time. Let's go.
Oh, you're here.
Now, where's the troubled pipe?
They went all that way to fix some pipes. I love the design and the artwork. It all really looks cleaner than the first one. Woo! Oh, baby, those flame powers? Yeah. Oh, that's good. That looks great visually.
Come on, you're not the scared guy anymore. Yes, I am. People don't change.
There's the problem.
Clog pipe. Who's in there? It's probably something adorable.
Hey. It's all right.
Oh, is that Yoshi? Oh, 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 that's dope. Frog powers? Yes.
Who is this?
Come on.
So some dinosaur just shows up and he's now part of the group.
Oh, poor Toad. No. April 1st. Okay, okay. I see you. I see you. Yeah, man. I'm kind of on board. I'm kind of on board. I thought that actually looked pretty good. You know, I did enjoy the first one. I have a feeling that this one actually might end up being a little bit better. But I'm kind of excited for that now, to be quite frank with you. It looks really good. Looks really good. What else do we have here? We did get some Star Wars news. Taika Waititi's in the news. He talked a little bit about his Star Wars movie, which is kind of surprising. For those of you who don't remember, you know, now that Kathleen Kennedy is gone, it's been a big question mark in regards to, you know, what other projects are sort of in the pipeline. We already know that they're fully committed to the Simon Kinberg trilogy that they are currently working on. But before Kathleen Kennedy left, she did hint at the idea that there are some finished scripts from some really big names. I believe James Mangold's script is completed, just waiting on like whether or not they should do it or not. I don't know if they have a final script for that or not, but it seems like it's relatively far away, or pretty far along, I should say. Donald Glover's Lando series, I think, is pretty much kind of written. She did talk a little bit about Taika Waititi's script also, and this week over at let me see, where was he speaking at? They had the opportunity to sit down with him and talk a little bit about his actual script that he had. So let's see what we got here. So what does Taika Waititi have in store for Star Wars fans? He says, I'm just trying to go back and harness a little bit more of the fun from the original films, which is what I remember from them, is what he told Variety at Sundance. He said the stakes are very high and there's serious things going on, but there's also a lot of fun to be had in those films. That's what I was trying to bring back. I was trying to work in a world that was a little bit separate to that, because they've got so many things going on within that space. For me to do something there, it would need to be a little different and a little bit more its own thing. So it seems as though we have a lot of creators right now that are very much making kind of standalone Star Wars movies. And if it hits, it hits. And it seems as though what Taika is kind of trying to create here is something that's a little bit outside of the normal box of Lucasfilm that we're used to kind of playing in, if you will, right? Like Sean Levy's creating a new timeline, new characters and things like that. I have a feeling it's the same thing with Taika Waititi's, also in the sense of doing something, not necessarily using the pieces that kind of came before, but something a little bit more original, while also taking influences from some of the things that have come before, right? It's very high stakes, serious things going on, but also Taika Waititi's humor and fun in there. Look, I don't know how I feel about after Thor: Love and Thunder. I'm a little bit hesitant in regards to giving Taika a really big sort of franchise kind of property. Look, I know what Taika's capable of. Like, I've seen other things from him that I've been huge fans of, sort of thing. So I'm not necessarily opposed to it. There's just a part of me that kind of feels like maybe I need a little bit more time before I'm ready to digest a Taika Waititi Star Wars kind of thing. 'Cause I just don't want him to do to Star Wars what he did to Thor: Love and Thunder. Although I would kind of hope that maybe Kathleen Kennedy, there's a part of me that was saying maybe Kathleen Kennedy would pull in his reins a little bit, but from some of the past interviews, it feels like she's kind of just let him do his own thing in regards to creating this world. So whether or not he's got something there, I have no idea, but I am a little bit hesitant. I'm not going to lie. I think he's more than capable of doing something great if he really wanted to, if he could find a really great balance to things. But I'm just a little concerned. So we'll see. It may not see the light of day. I think we also have to understand, even though a lot of this stuff, especially the Steve Soderbergh and Adam Driver Kylo Ren movie, even though those things seem ready to go if given an opportunity, the problem is whether or not the people working there, like Dave Filoni and the new CEOs, if those films are anything that they want to kind of pursue, right? Like, they're going to be the next one in charge, so they're going to have to green light these scripts that have not been made by Kathleen Kennedy. So it'll be interesting to see exactly what the vision of Dave Filoni and them going forward is, and if they even include Taika Waititi or a James Mangold movie, or if those are just going to be scrapped for their new ideas. You know what I mean? So we'll see. And then last but not least, we did have ourselves a brand new Darth Maul animated series teaser trailer. I believe this is set to go ahead and drop April 6th on Disney Plus, but it's Star Wars Maul Shadow Lord. We got ourselves a brand new poster along with a brand new trailer that wind up dropping. And the trailer went relatively well for Super Mario Galaxy. So let's see if we can bring this one up also for Maul. Let's check this out.
Times have changed. I will show you the galaxy for what it truly is. See things from a new perspective.
Is this what our future holds? Always running.
We got a Jedi. We got a Jedi.
I invite you to look more closely.
What are we dealing with?
Good question. And I offer you an opportunity.
The animation looks so good, dude.
Maul.
We have all been made to suffer. We survive.
Damn.
But do not
That's such a beautiful shot.
The Emperor
Whoa.
wants you dead. Chains can be broken.
Hang on!
And empires can be shattered.
Nasty. Nasty. Nasty, dude. That's nasty. That looks so good, though.
Times have changed.
Oh. No, that's not what I want to do. Stop sharing. Yeah, man, that trailer, nasty, bro, nasty trailer. I mean that in the best possible way, though. It looks so good. It looks so good. I'm a really big fan of that Maul trailer. Look, I will be the first to say I definitely have been one to I definitely have been one to have an issue with the same animation style and use. But this style has definitely come a long way since the last time that I certainly watched it. There's something I don't know. I don't want to say it's gritty, but there are even details to like Maul's face that look like, even though it's using the same animation style, feels like it's using like different techniques. I wind up reading somewhere somebody talking about utilizing more like paint strokes and things like that. I don't know like the exact context in which I watched it in, but when you watch some of these scenes closely, it does look like almost painted animation in some aspects. The color scheme is absolutely gorgeous. The movement and the fluidity of the characters is even better than what I had previously seen before, whether that be the Bad Batch or even the Clone Wars stuff. So after first looks, man, I'm kind of pumped for this. I'm kind of excited for this Maul animated series. If I recall, I do believe this takes place after the Clone Wars. So I would assume this is kind of between the Clone Wars, between Rebels. I am kind of curious as to where it's placed at in regards to the timeline to Solo. But it looks like he's very much underground, maybe forming the Crimson Dawn crime syndicate at this point. I really have no idea, but he's clearly being hunted all at the same time. So really great visuals, man. I'm on board. And for those of you Star Wars fans, because you guys know I'm a huge Star Wars fan, if you've been following the channel for a while, myself and the rest of my high council here of Stuart, Crystal, and Will, we always do reviews for you guys in regards to Star Wars content that winds up dropping. We will be reviewing Maul, the Shadow Lord, for you guys. I don't know how many weeks it's going to be dropping, but I do think they're going to be doing 2 episodes a week for maybe about 5 weeks or so. I think there might be like 10 episodes in total. We will be reviewing those for you guys. We may actually release our own Star Wars podcast. It'll probably be attached to the Hero Report YouTube channel, but we probably will be having our own Star Wars podcast we're going to be putting together as we prepare to hopefully be in attendance for Star Wars Celebration next year. We really want to try and go, but we love Star Wars. We love talking Star Wars. We love having different opinions on Star Wars and being able to sit down and have conversations about some of the Star Wars content. So our Star Wars High Council will in fact be back for you guys for April. So expect some reviews in regards to that. What else we got in here? PCW says the trailer looks dope. Yeah, I agree. It really surprised me. I didn't know what I was gonna expect to see from it, but it really impressed me. Blossom says, I hear Rosalina is coming. Talking about the Super Mario Galaxy trailer we watched. Yeah, I think she briefly showed up at the very tail end of the first teaser trailer that we wind up getting. I think she's gonna be played by Brie Larson, if I'm not mistaken. We got King Cowboy in the house. What's up, King Cowboy? Appreciate you coming through. Says, I've never seen Star Wars. Hey, look, I don't know how old you are, King Cowboy, but do yourselves a favor. Check out Star Wars if you get the opportunity, man. Check it out. I'm an original trilogy guy. I would usually tell you watch it that way, but there could be some other people that have a particular viewing order for you to certainly watch Star Wars. And if you've never watched Star Wars, but yeah, check out Star Wars if you haven't. You might, it's interesting. I have seen reactionaries on YouTube before of people who had not seen Star Wars before or were watching it for the first time. It's amazing to kind of see the emotional journey that they go on, like of watching like A New Hope or The Empire Strikes Back kind of for the first time, and not and like eventually truly understanding why it is that so many people are invested in Star Wars as much as they certainly are. Now, look, it may not be for everybody, but if you haven't had the opportunity to see it yet, King Cowboy, give it a shot. Give it a shot. Let me know what you think. But that will do it all for our honorable mentions today. So, yeah, again, those are just some topics we felt you guys certainly deserve to know about, but just maybe didn't necessarily make our final cut. But topics that did make our final cut, let's go ahead and talk about it, man. Let's get into our main topic, shall we? We've got the Oscars right around the corner. You guys know I'm a big movie guy. In total, I saw 41 movies in theaters last year. This is probably the most movies I've had the opportunity to watch in a single year, and I'm going to try and best myself in 2026 to see if I could see more than 41 movies. Now, regardless, even though I might have seen 41 movies, I still have not seen all the movies that the Oscars have in fact nominated, but we are going to talk about some of the nominations in here and some of the things that really stand out to me. We also got a Masters of the Universe trailer we'll certainly talk about. Maybe we'll watch it here also. We got some Spider-Man Brand New Day topics for you today as the director comes out and speaks out a little bit about it. And we also got some DCU news as well, as things are brewing when it comes to the Brave and the Bold movie, along with some other projects as well. So again, remember guys, at the end of the day, these are simply my A+ opinions. I always want to know yours as we go through these topics. Share your thoughts, conversation pieces, whatever the case may be, in the live chat, because it's just me here. It's just me here today. So definitely want to have something else to certainly talk about with you guys. So yeah, let your thoughts be known in the comment section box below. There is a super chat available if you want to help us out monetarily to grow the channel. We don't have any sponsors or anything like that here. We definitely grow from your guys' help. So if you want to donate, feel free to go ahead and do so with our super chat, super images, yada, yada, yada. But look, things are tight in this world. I understand living paycheck to paycheck. It's hard to pay bills. So if helping us monetarily is something you cannot do, that's more than fine. If you want to help us out for free, like the channel, subscribe, or like the video, subscribe to the channel, and feel free to share these videos, clip them, whatever the case certainly might be. Let people know about A+ Hero Report. That'll definitely go a long way. But guys, let's get into our first topic of the day, and that will in fact be the Oscars. That's right. This March, we're going to be having the Oscar ceremony, celebrating all the great movies from 2026. I'm hoping that they have some sort of live stream somewhere. You'll probably be able to catch it, I believe, maybe on like ABC, over on Hulu as well. I am kind of curious if they're going to be posting it on like YouTube or anything like that. I personally, what I had intended to do last year was to do a live stream of watching the Oscars with you guys. I definitely want to try and attempt that again this year. I didn't get the opportunity to do it last year, but I do want to try and do it this year if possible. But let's go ahead and get into this because we got some nominations. I don't believe I have these in order, so excuse me. But let's go through. I think the biggest one of all of them usually is the granddaddy of them all, and that's the Best Picture one. We got nominees for Best Picture: Begonia, featuring Emma Thompson, Emma Stone, I should say, excuse me. We also have F1 that wind up making the cut. I wasn't quite sure if it was going to be nominated, but then again, the best picture nominations, at least when it comes to Best Picture, can go up to as many as 10 if you want, in regards to nominations or nominees. So it definitely made its way in there. Frankenstein by Guillermo del Toro is in here. Hamnet, which I believe might be streaming right now. I don't know what the streaming service is, but I definitely want to go ahead and check that one out. I missed that in theaters. Marty Supreme, that might still be in theaters. I think that came out around Christmas, but it still might be in there. We also got One Battle After Another. Just mind you, also, if these are some movies that you've heard of before, but you haven't had the opportunity to check out, check your local theaters. Usually around this time, especially during the Oscar nominations, some of these movies are re-released in theaters for you guys to go ahead and check out, or maybe check your streaming services, because some of these might have already been released early in the year and you missed them. So they might be available to you on streaming or at your local theaters. But One Battle After Another, The Secret Agent, I'm actually not too familiar with, and I'm not familiar with Sentimental Value also. Those are two movies that I've not heard of this year that maybe I'll have to check out. Sinners, which was one of my favorite movies of the year personally, and then Train Dreams, which I believe is a Netflix movie, if I'm not mistaken. I started watching that. I have not finished it yet, but I may have to go back and check it out. But those are in fact the nominations up here for Best Picture. I'll come back to this one here in just a second for you guys. We also got nominees for original screenplay. So these are like original films, writing for original films. Blue Moon. It was just an accident. Marty Supreme. I didn't know that that was an original movie. I don't know why. A part of me thought this like based off of a true story or something like that, but maybe I'm tripping. Sentimental Value and Sinners. If you ask me for this category, granted, I still haven't seen Blue Moon. I haven't seen It Was Just an Accident or Sentimental Value. I have seen Marty Supreme and Sinners. And even though I was a big fan of the Marty Supreme movie, I think just from an original like concept, I really love Sinners, man. You know, Sinners is nominated for like 16 Oscars this year, the most in movie history. I do not think it's going to win 16. I do think it may win a couple here or there, maybe 4 or 5 tops. I do not see it winning 16 Oscars for sure. I do not think that automatically means it's going to be a landslide for Sinners, but it's been nominated for a bunch of things. I mean, if you just look at that movie, like every department expertly just did an amazing job. So I can see why it's been nominated for so many. But I do think this might be original screenplay, might be a good opportunity for Sinners, written by Ryan Coogler, to pick up a W here. We also got nominees for cinematography: Frankenstein, Marty Supreme, One Battle After Another, Sinners, and Train Dreams. Right now, just based off of the movies that I have seen, I haven't finished Train Dreams, but I have seen all of these movies. The two for me that just stand out, well, there might be 3 here: Frankenstein, Sinners, and Train Dreams. Train Dreams is really beautifully shot. I don't know if they use a lot of natural light in that movie or just being in like the forest and stuff. They're just really stunning. So these are some really great cinematography selections here. But those would be my 3: Frankenstein, Sinners, and Train Dreams. I wouldn't be surprised if like Frankenstein or even Train Dreams actually pulls that one out. Visual effects, we got Avatar, Fire and Ash, F1, Jurassic World Rebirth, The Lost Bus, and Sinners. For me, visual effects here is probably Avatar and F1. Avatar was just absolutely gorgeous. I watched it in 3D on the Dolby Cinema 3D, and it was just absolutely breathtaking. It's just so amazing. But F1 is one of those films that, like, I don't know where the visuals end and where the visuals begin. And I think that's actually really key when it comes to not only making you feel like you're in the cockpit of a Formula One race car, but literally feeling like you're in the that you're literally in the movie itself. And it was F1. While I don't think it was the strongest, like, best movie of the year from like a cinematic experience at the movies, F1 to me probably actually might pull this one out, just because of the feeling of, like I said, not knowing where the actual where the visual effects begin or end. It's just that seamless to me. Nominees for animated feature film: Arco, Elio, K-pop Demon Hunters, Little Amel, or The Character of Rain, and Zootopia 2. I have not seen any of these movies with the exception of K-pop Demon Hunters, so I'm just going to go with K-pop Demon Hunters here. Maybe Zootopia 2 just because of how much money it's made at the box office, but K-pop Demon Hunters literally was like a pop cultural a pop culture sort of like a moment, a zeitgeist moment for animated feature films. So a part of me thinks that K-pop Demon Hunters might run away with this one. Nominees for actress in a supporting role: Elle Fanning from Sentimental Value, Inga Lilias from Sentimental Value also, Amy Madigan from Weapons, Wunmi Mosaku in Sinners, and Teyana Taylor in One Battle After Another. I'm actually surprised that Teyana Taylor is in this category in a supporting role. I would have thought maybe she would be a lead role, but I guess maybe based off of the amount of time that she is in the movie itself, I can understand being a in the supporting role. I believe Amy Madigan, who played, was it the grandma or the aunt, or the crazy aunt from Weapons? I believe she already won this award for the Golden Globes, if I'm not mistaken. But I would not mind for me right now, even though I haven't seen Sentimental Value, so I am biased. Teyana Taylor blew me away in One Battle After Another. I'm kind of rooting for her in here, so we'll see what happens there. Actor in a leading role: Timothy Chalamet from Marty Supreme, Leonardo DiCaprio, One Battle After Another, Ethan Hawke in A Blue Moon, Michael B. Jordan in Sinners, and Wagner Moura from The Secret Agent. For me, my top two contenders in here, while I always love Leonardo DiCaprio, Timothy Chalamet in Marty Supreme was excellent, and so was Michael B. Jordan in Sinners. The idea of having to play twins with different personalities, one becoming a vampire and having to pretend to be a vampire version of one of your twin brothers. I mean, it's crazy the amount of work that Michael B. Jordan had to put in for Sinners. But I got to tell you, Marty Supreme, not only did I enjoy the movie, I don't know if it was like the best movie of the year for me personally, but Timothy Chalamet in that role as Marty, unbelievable. He's one of those people, like, he's such a charmer and a smooth talker. There's a part of you that kind of wants to like him, but he's such an asshole in this movie, and he does it so nonchalantly, in the sense of being like that narcissistic guy that doesn't even realize like what he's doing to other people and how he treats the other people around him. Like, just the mindset that Timothy Chalamet had to get into that role, like his performance is just crazy. It's so good. It's so good. So I'm kind of expecting Timothy to pull this one off. I wouldn't be surprised if Michael B. Jordan or Leonardo DiCaprio win this, but if I'm leaning towards one, it's probably Timothy there. Actor in a supporting role: Benicio del Toro in One Battle After Another, Jacob Elordi, who really impressed me in Frankenstein, Delroy Lindo in Sinners impressed me, Sean Penn, One Battle After Another is just bananas, and Stellan Skarsgård in Sentimental Value. Again, I still haven't seen that movie, so I've seen 4 out of the 5 here. I was really impressed with Jacob Elordi. For me, look, I love Delroy Lindo too. I don't think he got as much of an opportunity as other people did, like Jacob Elordi as Frankenstein, and Sean Penn. I think Sean Penn is probably going to win this one. I wouldn't be surprised if it's Sean Penn or Jacob Elordi as Frankenstein, but for me, I think Sean Penn was just outlandishly good in One Battle After Another. Nominees for directing: we got Chloe Zhao. You guys probably remember her from the Eternals movie. What else has she done? Off the top of my head, I can't remember, but apparently she was the director of Hamnet. So it's always interesting to kind of see like how directors or actors or writers' career go outside of the MCU. Like, I think of Chloe Zhao from the Eternals, and like how much she got bashed and that movie got bashed, and yet here she is being nominated for Best Director for a movie, right? Like, talent, she has the talent of being capable of doing something great. Same thing with Nia DaCosta from the Marvels. If you just saw 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple, like, it shows Nia DaCosta in her bag and why she's such a damn good director. So it's always cool to kind of see people separating themselves from the DCU or the MCU and going on to showcase just why they are as good as they are. And Chloe Zhao here for the director of Hamnet getting recognized. We got Marty Supreme up here, One Battle After Another from Paul Thomas Anderson, Sentimental Values, and Sinners from Ryan Coogler. Look, I love Sinners. I love Sinners. I do think the 3 up here is probably going to be Paul Thomas Anderson, Chloe Zhao, and Sinners by Ryan Coogler. I think those might be the 3 best options here. But Paul Thomas Anderson did some really great things directing wise when it comes to One Battle After Another. Also, I really need to check out Hamnet. Hamnet's on this a lot. I really need to check this out. Nominations for actress in the leading role. I think this might actually be the last category that I have for you guys. Nominees for actress in the leading role: Jessie Buckley in Hamnet. Also, Jessie Buckley is about to be in the new Bride movie by Maggie Gyllenhaal as the Bride of Frankenstein. So I kind of, another reason why I need to check out Hamnet. Rose Byrne in the film If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You. Kate Hudson in Song Sung Blue, which if you watched my top 5 movies of 2020. Oh, actually, I don't think we released that video. But Song Sung Blue actually was like my number 5 favorite film of the year. I actually was surprised that Hugh Jackman didn't get nominated for actor in leading role, but looking at the stiff competition, I can understand why. But Kate Hudson was incredible in Song Sung Blue. So her actually making it into this lead role, I was kind of shocked and surprised, but well earned for sure. I'm really impressed. Renee, I believe that's how you pronounce it, Rensby in Sentimental Value, along with Emma Stone for Bugonia. Bugonia is another one I kind of want to check out for myself just because of how trippy it certainly looks and some of the things that I've heard about it so far. I really have no idea who's going to win this one, to be quite frank with you. I've only seen one of these movies on here, so I really have no horse in the race. But for me, and then for mostly everybody, the last award of the year of the Oscars usually goes to Best Picture in here. And again, we got Bugonia, F1, Frankenstein, Hamnet, Marty Supreme, One Battle After Another, The Secret Agent, Sentimental Value, Sinners, and Train Dreams. For me, my 2 favorite movies of the year are here. That's Sinners and that's One Battle After Another. I personally have Sinners as my favorite movie of the year, so I would love to see it actually win an Oscar for this, but I have a feeling One Battle After Another might take this. I don't think it's a cakewalk per se. I think Marty Supreme is probably going to be up there, and maybe Hamnet. Like if I had to think of like top 4 movies that are like legit in the running for this, probably Hamnet, Marty Supreme, One Battle After Another, and Sinners. But I think it's going to go to One Battle After Another, but my personal choice would be Sinners. And if Sinners were to win it, I think it would certainly make a lot of sense to me, to be quite frank with you. I think it's a legitimate contender, to be quite frank. But yeah, man, we got some really great nominations. We really do. Let's see what some of you guys are saying in here. What kind of stands out to you? Ricky says Zootopia 2 and Pixar's Elio has nominated for Best Animated Feature. I am kind of curious if you think any of those will win, though. It's got some stiff competition with K-pop Demon Hunter, which was just like a pop culture zeitgeist moment and just had, it was everywhere. Zootopia made a ton of money at the box office, though, so we'll see. Kiki and Lucas says I'm going to Sentimental Value today. I hope it's good. Yeah, let me know what you think. Where are you watching it at? Is it on streaming or are you going to the theaters to watch it? Kiki and Lucas says I didn't really like Marty Supreme, but Timothy was amazing. I can understand that. Like I don't think I definitely went into Marty Supreme with a lot of really high expectations. I don't know if the movie met my expectations. I enjoyed it, but up there with the other categories of other movies that I've seen, or at least Best Picture, it certainly wasn't up there for me. But I would agree with Timothy was amazing in there. Sinners was just meh for me, says Kiki and Luca. I thought it was long, boring, not scary, not thrilling, and very little tension. I thought it was just about a vampire movie, but Sinners will win several awards. Yeah, I feel like I hear that argument from a couple people also. I think I've seen the movie like 3 times already in theaters. Let's see here. I do think Sinners will win several awards. It's not going to win 16. I think maybe 5, maybe awards, maybe 6. But we'll see. Again, there are other categories that I did not highlight in here that it certainly might win. Stellan is going to win, saying Kiki and Luca. Yeah, I think Stellan's movie is the only one, like one of the few I have not seen on there this year. Kiki and Lucas says, I don't think the Academy wants to give awards to Netflix minus K-pop Demon Hunter. I do think they released it in theaters. I'm sure Netflix has probably won some kind of Oscar awards for movies. Maybe I'm tripping, but I feel like Netflix has won some Oscars before. But I'll have to look that up. Chloe Zhao won an Academy Award for Nomad's Land. Yes, she is already an Oscar winner. Yes, she certainly is. Keegan Lucas says Paul Thomas Anderson is going to win for best director. Yeah, I'm kind of feeling that also. I'm going to watch Hamnet on streaming. It looks boring. Yeah, I don't know what type of movie Hamnet is supposed to be, so we'll see. Jesse Buckley said, Kiki says Jesse Buckley is going to win. Apparently her performance is peak. I'll definitely check that out. One Battle is going to win, but my favorite on that list was F1. Academy should have less highbrow movies if it still wants to stay relevant. I mean, that's true, but I mean, I think the fact that F1 is even nominated, I think is a great nod to the appreciation of what F1 certainly was. But yeah, I do think One Battle After Another is going to win. But yeah, F1 is no slouch, man. It was great. Key says I'm watching Sentimental Value in the theater. Okay, I'll have to check it out. There's a couple movies that I kind of want to check out first. I am debating if I should see Mercy or not. That movie, that the trailers haven't really pulled me in, so I'm kind of curious if I even want to see that new movie Mercy. There's a couple other films that are coming out in February I'm keeping my eyes on, but maybe I'll use this time in January when there's like a lull at the box office to try and check out some of these movies that I certainly miss. So yeah, maybe I'll try and check out Sentimental Value in the theaters also. We got Kiki and Luca in the house with the super chat today. Thank you, Kiki and Luca. Thanks for the show. Hey, anytime. This is what I'm here for on Sundays, man. This is what I'm here for on Sundays. All right, guys. But yeah, let us know your thoughts. Out of all the Oscar nominations, I would love to know if you have anybody in mind that you certainly would like to see pick up a W or walk away home with an Oscar. I really want to see Ryan Coogler walk away with something. I'm keeping my fingers crossed that his category will be original screenplay in regards to, like, if you're going to give Sinners anything, that just feels like, I don't want to say like a slam dunk, but like that, a really good opportunity to give Ryan Coogler something, because I think he's legit top 5 director of our current generation right now, of like up and coming filmmakers. I think he's incredible. But yeah, guys, let me know some of your thoughts in regards to the nominations, any snubs, any ones that you're feeling pretty positive about. Certainly go ahead and let me know. All right, guys, and with that out of the way, we will move on to our next topic. Let's get into some comic book movie talk, shall we, guys? Let's switch gears a little bit as Brave and the Bold is back in the news here this week. Over the past year, James Gunn has made it very aware to us that the two biggest projects, or the two biggest characters that they are now switching gears to focus on, Batman and Wonder Woman. I expect a lot of Batman and Wonder Woman news to be coming out here relatively soon. Although I do think James Gunn is very much aware that because there is another Batman movie in the Matt Reeves Batman, that they may try and hold off on as much information about Brave and the Bold as they possibly can, to not necessarily step on the toes of what Matt Reeves is doing. He has mentioned before he's not going to release 2 Batman movies in the same year. So if the Batman Part 2 is set to go ahead and drop in 2027, I do fully expect Brave and the Bold at some point in time to release in 2028. So definitely look forward to that. But Brave and the Bold is back in the news here because it seems as though, we've heard James Gunn talk about the idea, I'm working with the writer. We're trying to come up with the script. We're working with the writer. The writer has officially been revealed, and the writer is none other than Christina Hodson. If you are not familiar with Christina Hodson, or if the name does sound familiar to you, it certainly should. Christina Hodson has written past DCEU movies such as Birds of Prey, The Emancipation of Harley Quinn, along with The Flash. She also, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, wrote the Batgirl movie, which never came to release. And I also was hearing things that she was also working on a Batman Beyond sort of script also. So it should be interesting. She definitely has had her fingertips in a lot of Bat things when it comes to the DCEU. And we do know that James Gunn was a fan of the Flash movie. So he is officially bringing Christina Hodson on board. Let's go ahead and talk about this. Let's bring this article up. This comes to us from the Hollywood Reporter. That has confirmed this news. The Batman movie, Brave and the Bold, taps Christina Hodson to write for DC Studios. Let's see here. Christina Hodson, known for her work in the big IP and action spaces, is working on a Batman movie for DC Studios. Hodson is writing Brave and the Bold, the feature project that is centered on Batman and Robin. Robin in this version is Damian Wayne, the murderous tween raised by assassins, who also happens to be the son of Batman. Batman never knew he had. It is unclear how far along Brave and the Bold is in the writing process. DC Studios had no comment on Hodson's involvement. One source has said the scribe had been working on the projects since at least the fall. Another source said that it would be some time before a definitive draft comes in, as the studio is taking a measured approach to its development. You know, this doesn't surprise me, because it feels as though James Gunn literally wants to be as hands-on as possible with introducing Batman. So while Christina Hodson is in fact listed as the writer, it actually even wouldn't surprise me if there was even another writer previous to Christina kind of being on board that James Gunn was also working with, and then maybe he decided to bring in Christina Hodson as well to kind of work alongside him. I do think that they will be meticulous though in getting this Batman movie as right as they possibly can. So the fact that there's really doesn't seem to be a rush, I actually kind of find that encouraging. DC has faced conflicting currents in the development of its Batman movie. Andy Muschietti was on board to develop and direct the project, but finding a writer and a take on the material proved for the longest time elusive. Muschietti remains on board, but his ultimate involvement depends on several factors, including timing and availability. The filmmaker now finds himself a hot commodity thanks to Welcome to Derry. A second season is now in the works, even if it has not been officially renewed. So I do think, if anything, Andy Muschietti will probably go out to work on season 2 of Welcome to Derry. And as he's working on that, James Gunn and Christina Hodson will probably continue to work on the script here for Batman. And I would assume, if anything, maybe try and get filming at some point in time in like the fall or winter of this year. Then there is the Batman movie now in pre-production from Matt Reeves. DC is said to be putting Reeves' project ample space to breathe and is in no rush to put forth another Batman feature in the marketplace, which is certainly a good idea. Some things on Hodson. Hodson has gained respect from peers and executives for her strong scripts. She has worked in the Gotham corner of DC before, having penned a script for a Batman Beyond feature that earned praise inside the studio but was never made. You guys recall that a long time ago when you found out that the Batman Beyond movie, that there was a script and it being worked on. Apparently, Christina Hodson was the writer behind that. She has had several credentials, from The Flash to Birds of Prey movie. Her other credentials include the 2018 Transformers movie Bumblebee. That's right. So we got to give her credit for Bumblebee also, which was a massive success, at least in my eyes. I was a really big fan of what she was able to do with Bumblebee. I mean, giving us a Cybertron action sequence in the very beginning here of their movie, the great sort of emotional and sentimental connection between our main character along with Bumblebee as well. It was just really heartfelt movie. So I think Hodson certainly does have some things going for her, but there is some resistance, I would assume, towards this hiring here, just because of how divisive something like The Flash certainly was, or the underwhelming nature for some people of Birds of Prey. Look, I'll be honest. Let me put up this banner real quick. I do find it fascinating that Christina Hodson continues to find work. And I don't mean that in like a disrespectful way, but apparently, the executives and people in Hollywood really do look up and view her scripts as pretty legit and relatively solid, for her to continue to work with the studios and create more content for them. Bumblebee, I thought, was a great film. I can definitely see that. I'm a little bit bummed Batman Beyond never got made. I'm still gonna push back against the narrative of Batgirl not being a film that was releasable until I see otherwise. They made the movie, so clearly there was something that they enjoyed about it. But the fact that they didn't release it, I don't necessarily know if it had anything to do with poor quality or just for other particular reasons. But I do think Batgirl should be given some grace just because we haven't even really seen it before. And I wouldn't put it past executives to lie to me in regards to why they didn't release something. So, I do think Batgirl is really up for debate. But look, I'm gonna be honest with you. I have not seen The Flash since it came out in theaters. I was not super impressed with The Flash, but there are aspects of The Flash that I was a big fan of. I enjoyed the Barry Allen character and some of his conflicts that he certainly had to deal with. And I think some of the best aspects of the Flash movie, believe it or not, is the Batman aspect, along with the Supergirl aspect of things. Um, like visually, I don't really care for the bright lights and the big special effects and stuff when it comes to putting Batman sort of like in that big summer blockbuster bombastic world that was the Flash. It felt a little bit off for me at times. So like when I think of Andy Muschietti as a director for the Batman, I just keep thinking, I hope it's not that style. Like I hope it doesn't visually look like the Flash. I hope Andy Muschietti is able to really switch things up a little bit and go his Welcome to Derry or It route in regards to tone and using shadow and darkness a little bit more. As long as he doesn't give me the Flash, I'm okay with it. But the aspects of the Flash movie that really worked for me was the Batman aspect and some of the emotional character arcs that we wind up getting in the Flash movie. Definitely not a great piece of cinema for me personally, but there's definitely aspects to it that I was kind of fond of. I even went back last night and watched Birds of Prey, the Emancipation of Harley Quinn. I didn't get the opportunity to finish it, but it just reminded me of the fact that I enjoyed that movie. I know a lot of people certainly didn't, and I know it certainly underwhelmed some people. I know that there's probably some level of Birds of Prey expectations that we kind of had for what we think or thought that the movie should certainly be. But from when I view the movie, I view it as a Harley Quinn movie, and more so than Birds of Prey. I really view it as a Harley Quinn led film with some really great supporting characters. People could be upset. I can understand the idea of being upset in regards to how they utilize Cassandra Cain. She was kind of a pain in the ass. I probably wouldn't have gone that route. So I'm not saying Birds of Prey movie was perfect, but I do think in regards to Harley Quinn, Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn, she had some really great material in there. Was it Journey Smollett who played Black Canary? I thought she was great in this movie. Rosie Perez as Renee Montoya, I thought she had some really great dialogue and moments in here. And believe it or not, I really liked Ewan McGregor as Black Mask. Like I've never really I've never really seen Black Mask as like a top tier Batman or Gotham villain. He's kind of like always reminds me like a B tier or something like that. And I think the way that Ewan McGregor portrayed him was very much like that, like somebody that wanted to be more powerful than what they were, like threatening. People clearly knew he wasn't to be messed with in Gotham, but always wanting to be more, feeling like he wasn't getting the respect that he kind of deserved. Like just that over the top outlandish aspect of Ewan McGregor's performance really solidified Black Mask for me as a formidable villain for this type of movie. The action in that movie is absolutely incredible. So I do think like Christina Hodson does have some things working for her, and the fact that she's done so much stuff in Gotham City, like the visuals of the Ace Chemical plant from Birds of Prey, like she feels like she knows how to write in that Gotham City world a little bit. She seems to understand the characters at least. She kind of I even love like the rewatching Birds of Prey, the connections to past comic book lore in regards to even bringing up Dinah Lance's mother as the former Black Canary, right? Like she wrote that into the script. So there are aspects of like being able to tap into comic lore and past comic book characters and really get nerdy with it if you want to, Easter egg wise, or just mythology building sort of thing. So, you know, if she were to bring something like that over to a Batman movie where Batman already has his career, already has his son, who knows to what some of the nods to past storylines Christina Hodson might kind of put in there. But so yeah, so again, I didn't get the opportunity to finish it last night. I don't think it's a great film, but I think for who the film was meant to be for in regards to a Harley Quinn movie, it feels like a perfect Harley Quinn movie to me, with some really enjoyable supporting characters, with the Huntress being in there also. So I was really impressed to see how she kind of like there are. If I had a complaint about it, it's probably the structure of that film. It felt a little bit all over the place in the sense of, you know, starting it from the present, but then taking us 4 days ago and then getting us up to a certain point, and then like the second act taking us back to an entire week ago and retelling the story from a different point of view till you meet back into the present day sort of thing. So the structure of that film, I don't think necessarily did itself any justice. But there's always a Christina Hodson movie that, despite some of the issues that I have with it, there are always really great things inside of it that I enjoy. And if she can harness those great things like great character work, understanding Gotham City, being able to give emotional arcs that certainly make sense for the characters at hand. If she can do those things with the help of somebody like James Gunn to kind of help lead the way in other areas, then I do think it might be okay here. So a little underwhelming. Would it have been my first choice for a Batman Brave and the Bold? No. I really would have loved to have seen him get out of the box, especially if James Gunn knows just how people have felt about these previous films that she's worked on and haven't been too impressed with them. Maybe you go certainly a different route. But I do think Christina Hodson has something special about her that understands Gotham, especially, and understands the Gotham characters and can really highlight those strengths of those characters and those aspects of their emotional story that would really work. Because I was really invested in the Harley Quinn story for Birds of Prey, and I was impressed with some of the performances she was able to get out of her characters. Again, I didn't really care for the structure of the film. I do think some characters aren't necessarily utilized to their most to their best strengths, if you will. But there are aspects to that movie that I'm like, yeah, I kind of enjoy certain things. And again, the best part of the Flash was the Batman. So she feels like that's her world, so it would make sense that she's on board here. But again, the fact that James Gunn is really helping helm and direct things and focusing on this instead of just letting Christina Hodson just have free reins to this stuff, I think it is a little bit more comforting of a security blanket. And I got to give her her praises for what she did with Bumblebee. I thought it was one of the best of the Transformers franchise. So I definitely see the light at the end of the tunnel here for Christina Hodson, but I definitely understand some people's hesitation toward it for sure. So I'm not mad at it if people aren't happy with this, but I'm going to give it an opportunity, just because of some of the good things that I have seen from her, and I'm hoping that James Gunn can kind of help keep that stuff kind of intact and just kind of build upon it. You know what I mean? So we'll see how it goes. And it doesn't hurt that she's worked with Andy Muschietti also. If Andy Muschietti does kind of come back, they clearly have worked together before, so we'll see how that turns out. But yeah, guys, let me know your thoughts in regards to this. Probably not the writer that I think we all felt, hey, we certainly wanted on here. I am kind of curious if you guys have any other writers in mind that you probably would have liked to have seen tackle Brave and the Bold. But this is where we're here. Again, I don't expect them to have a fully fleshed out draft as of yet. They're probably still going to be working on things behind the scenes, so anything can definitely change. But I'm curious to see what this movie is going to turn out to be. Like I don't envy them at all. Like the fact that you got somebody like Matt Reeves doing a detective noir style Batman for his stuff that was just widely recognized and enjoyed, to then have to come up behind him and do a different version of a Batman movie, trying to be fantastical but maybe not over the top sort of thing, right? But you don't want to go full on detective noir and do exactly what Matt Reeves done. So I can't even imagine like the headaches in regards to trying to figure out a balance for this movie. I think their North Star should certainly be the animated series. I don't know if the Superman animated series was the North Star for James Gunn when he made his movie, but a lot of the compliments was, it feels like I'm watching the animated series in live action. I think that's the route that you can go. Although I will say Matt Reeves, I think, is kind of tapped into that detective noir aspect of things. So, how do you get that fantastical side of Batman to kind of emerge again? And I think that's the puzzle that Christina Hodson, along with James Gunn, is certainly going to have to figure out. Maybe James Gunn will be the fantastical elements, and maybe Christina Hodson will be the more story focused and emotional attached aspect of things. So we'll see. We got the Real King Dan in here. What's up, Real King? Appreciate you certainly coming through as we wrap up our story about the Brave and the Bold. But yeah, let me know your guys' thoughts in the comment section box below. So from one DCU property to the next, this will take us to Man of Tomorrow. That's right. We got ourselves a Man of Tomorrow scoop for you guys here. I didn't break this story, but I definitely felt you guys certainly deserve to know about it. Look, you guys know there's been a lot of rumors and speculation going on about a potential female character being introduced into this movie. And a lot of people have been jumping on the bandwagon of, it's Wonder Woman, it's Wonder Woman. Well, James Gunn has continued to push back against that, really suggesting the idea that no, it's not Wonder Woman that we're talking about when it comes to Superman, Man of Tomorrow. But a new report, though, from Nexus Point News has emerged, suggesting the idea that it may be the superhero Maxima. That's right. Maxima is in the news here this week. Now, look, I'm not going to lie. I remember brief things about Maxima, whether that be from the animated series or from the DC Comics Superman. From what I remember, I believe she was always trying to have a relationship with Superman. I believe her people was just as powerful as Kryptonians, if I'm not mistaken. And she was set to marry and have children, and she had to find her best suitable mate. And in her eyes, that was in fact Superman. So Maxima's been trying to get with Superman for quite some time here. And there are new rumors suggesting that it's not necessarily Wonder Woman that's going to pop up in this movie, but the casting of a warrior female for Man of Tomorrow might actually be Maxima. Let's go ahead and dive into this article here. This comes to us from Nexus Point News that might give us some new information here. Exclusive DC Studios Man of Tomorrow to introduce Maxima. I can't remember, was Maxima ever introduced in the Supergirl series on CW? I can't remember or not. But let's try and pull this up. Let's see here. As reported by Nexus News, a female supporting character was being cast for Man of Tomorrow with warrior-like qualities and a certain height requirement. Although fans initially suspected this would be the debut of Wonder Woman, Nexus Point News can confirm that this character will be Maxima. Maxima is set to debut in Man of Tomorrow as a secondary character, a secondary antagonist. And sources tell Nexus Point News that similar to the comics, she will eventually join forces with the heroes. Maxima is the queen of Almerac, who came to Earth to find a suitable mate and to marry her as king. She sets her sights on Superman as a potential mate who rejects her. Another notable storyline involving Maxima is the Panic in the Sky crossover event, where Brainiac, with the help of Maxima, invades Earth. Brainiac had taken over Almerac and coerced Maxima into aiding them. Superman assembles a team of heroes to fight Brainiac, and following Maxima's betrayal of Brainiac, the heroes defeat him and Warworld. She later goes on to join the Justice League. I think my first introduction to Maxima might have actually have been the Death of Superman comic book. I believe I remember seeing her fight alongside the Justice League, and that was my first introduction. But she is part of the Superman mythos and legacy. She was introduced in the Superman comics from the planet Almerac, looking for a mate and a suitable king for her, and she winds up finding Superman. I kind of like the idea of possibly adapting the Panic in the Sky crossover event. I can easily see, like, there are a couple of things that are just kind of coming to mind for me. I mean, you know, I think about the Supergirl trailer that we wind up having, where we see Argo City kind of being bubbled up and protected from the destruction of Krypton. I do expect Supergirl to kind of somehow be involved in the Man of Tomorrow movie. It wouldn't surprise me if Superman maybe recruits her to kind of help out in Man of Tomorrow. And if Brainiac is out here kind of collecting worlds, you know, there's another bottled city, if I'm not mistaken, from Krypton that Brainiac probably possesses. He probably, you know, I can easily see him then also in turn having taken over Almerac and bottled up that city too, and is maybe utilizing somebody like Maxima to go ahead and to help invade Earth. It would definitely be a formidable opponent for Superman to have to face off against, along with some romantic tensions here between the idea of maybe her trying to find a mate, Lois Lane probably not having any of it, sort of thing. So I do think that there's elements to the Panic in the Sky crossover that would probably line up relatively well for adapting into a movie like Man of Tomorrow, where you then could bring back in the Justice Gang and any other newly introduced characters in here. All signs point to Man of Tomorrow being an adaptation of Panic in the Skies with the involvement of Brainiac and Maxima. There are also reports of another hero being cast in the film who would potentially join Superman and Lex Luthor to fight off Brainiac's invasion. Although unconfirmed, it is possible that the Justice Gang can return with heroes like Supergirl, Peacemaker, and maybe even Lobo. A Justice League film may be far off, but Man of Tomorrow certainly can begin planting the seeds for that eventual crossover. So yeah, man, we'll see how this turns out. But look, I kind of dig it. I'm always open for more Maxima. You know, like again, because growing up, you have to understand, I never really read too many Superman comics. So outside of maybe some of the big crossover events like the Death of Superman, the Reign of Superman, you know, those big arcs I certainly followed, but I really wasn't too familiar with Maxima, with the exception of maybe some of her guest appearances, maybe from what I've seen from her in regards to the animated the animated series also. But to bring in somebody that's just as formidable and just as powerful, I think there are some really great sort of character aspects and moments that you can really have between her and Superman in here. And the idea of utilizing her potentially sort of to help invade Earth if you're Brainiac, I really do think is kind of a brilliant idea. You know, who knows? Maybe it's the idea that they think she's the main antagonist, only for them to kind of find out that she's being controlled or you know, persuaded by somebody else to do things that she doesn't necessarily want to do, but she has to in order to kind of protect her home world and her people sort of mentality. So we'll see. Marcelino says Maxima is normally a villain, though. Yeah, she normally is. And yeah, okay, there we go. He says Marcelino also appeared in Supergirl, played by former WWE Eve Torres Gracia. Okay, Gracie, Eve Torres Gracie. Let me see if I can I look her up here? Maxima Eve Torres. Let me see what I can't remember what she looked like. Oh yeah, I do remember her. Okay. All right. I do remember her from the series. Hopefully you have a better character design for her. Yeah, she only appeared in one episode in the season 1 finale though. And I was like, I thought I remember her coming up at some point in time. Marcel says, "Do you have a narrow-minded view on Superman with most of your knowledge coming from Death of Superman?" I mean, I wouldn't say that's narrow-minded view. Narrow-minded view feels like I purposely am only um viewing things from that perspective, like purposefully, and that's not necessarily the case. I feel like I'm pretty open-minded in regards to things. I'm always open-minded to learn certainly more about characters and whatnot. I'm just going off of the experience that I certainly do have. So I'm just trying to give you my perspective on how I feel about it. But look, I am a fan of her being involved in this movie. I do kind of like the switch up. My biggest concern was, look, who knows, maybe Wonder Woman still does pop up in this movie. I really have no idea, but I'm kind of hoping not. I just don't like the idea of it being like another team up with Superman and Wonder Woman. Like, it just feels like we're going down the path of Zack Snyder, and I'm not trying to give the Snyder cultists sort of any ammo for them to be like, he's just trying to be Zack Snyder all over again. Like, no, I'm not. I really don't want that kind of mentality. So if he can avoid that by bringing in somebody like Maxima instead and utilizing her well, that does go along with the Superman mythos, I'm perfectly okay with that. I'm perfectly okay with that. But yeah, you guys certainly let me know your thoughts in regards to Man of Tomorrow and the new information that we have here. I think it's coming together relatively well. At least I think so. Let's see here. What else do we got? Let's switch over from the DCU to the MCU, baby, as Spider-Man is back in the news. Again, this is just my speculation. I don't know if I've seen a lot of people talking about it yet or not. We did have that Spider-Man Brand New Day, quote unquote, trailer leak maybe a month or so ago, and we haven't seen anything official from it yet. There is a part of me that does truly believe that come the Super Bowl, I do believe come the Super Bowl, we will have ourselves a Spider-Man Brand New Day trailer. I know that we're high off the exhaust fumes of Avengers Doomsday teasers that have come and gone now, but I still think Avengers Doomsday is way too far away to drop any sort of like official teaser for it. But if there is a film that people need to start getting hyped up about, that will then in turn get the hype level for Avengers Doomsday even higher, it would be that of Spider-Man Brand New Day. And I wanted to highlight Spider-Man Brand New Day today because the director, Destin Daniel Cretton, is out here discussing it a little bit more and giving us some insight in regards to the film. I feel like we haven't, outside of the set photos and stuff that we've had over the past couple of when filming was occurring, I feel like we haven't gotten too much information about this movie. So this is pretty interesting tidbits of information here. Spider-Man Brand New Day director confirms one big change from the first 3 movies. So let's I'm covering it up a little bit here. Go back to okay. This makes director Destin Daniel Cretton's comments. Okay, here we go. The MCU is betting big on its 2 releases, though, because Spider-Man is the only franchise that has beaten the $1 billion mark recently. And Avengers Doomsday is the first big crossover movie since Avengers Doomsday. That makes the Spider-Man movie all the more important as they try to lure fans back to theaters after a prolonged slump. This makes director Destin Daniel Cretton's comments concerning because it sounds like he is making some changes to the formula. Destin Daniel Cretton spoke with comicbook.com at the Wonder Man junket, and described how excited he was to make Spider-Man Brand New Day, as well as the changes he was bringing to the project. The director says directing Spider-Man was one of the roles of a lifetime for me. He admitted that he doesn't like to put a stamp on things that would be the pinnacle of his career, but he admitted that Spider-Man was different. He says, I look at every project that I work on, and it's really just, I haven't done this before. Is it exciting for me for the next 2 years? And Spider-Man is definitely that, is what Cretan admitted. He then looked at the upcoming MCU movie and said that he tried to make it different from the Spider-Man movies that came before. He said he did the same thing when he worked on as a showrunner for Wonder Man. He says, all the creatives involved when I came on board wanting to do something that felt different. Of course, it's still the Spider-Man that everybody loves, but this is a new chapter in his life, and that tonal shift was something that was really exciting to me. It felt really different, and it was an extremely gratifying experience. This is an interesting comment from the director, and it's the first time he said anything about the film's different tone. While he has only talked about how much he can't say about the they can't say about the movie. Sadie Sink has also hinted that there were going to be changes in the film tonally as well. Um, so yeah, so he's pretty much saying here, with all the creatives involved when he came on board, they all felt that they wanted to do something different. It's a Spider-Man that everybody loves, but it's a new chapter in his life, and that tonal shift was something that was really exciting to me. It felt really different, and it was an extremely gratifying experience. Look, man, I personally love the sound of this. I'm not gonna lie, I really do. If you bring somebody like Destin Daniel Cretton to Spider-Man, I'm hoping he brings his Shang-Chi isms over there. Whether that be his eye for choreography, his eye for like visually giving us a different tone to Spider-Man, but also just from a character perspective. I think it is time to kind of switch things up for Spider-Man. I think what worked so well under the John Watts Spider-Man trilogy is the movies itself felt like a kid in high school, whether that be from Homecoming to Far From Home, going on, school vacations. No Way Home was certainly a little bit more of a multiverse adventure, but it felt like these high school kids were getting ready to take their next step into a much bigger world, trying to go to college and looking for acceptance letters and things like that, right? So, John Watts's trilogy already has sort of that built-in coming of age tone to it, taking hits from some of the classics that we've seen, like The Breakfast Club and Ferris Bueller's Day Off, sort of thing. John Watts very much solidified what Spider-Man was for his age, and where he was certainly in his life. And that's just not Peter Parker anymore, right? Peter Parker's life has certainly changed. He's now going to school in regards to college, going to a university. He doesn't have the same group of friends that he certainly had prior to that. So the idea of now taking an adult, sort of like Tom Holland as Peter Parker, and implanting him kind of back into the same John Watts themes and tones and stuff just feels kind of really off. You know what I mean? So it probably is time to mature Spider-Man a little bit here. Maybe embrace a little bit more of the comic book aspect of things. Not that John Watts certainly didn't do that. But I mean, if the leaked trailer is to be believed, I mean, we've got not only the Punisher in here, we also got the Hulk. I remember seeing him face off against the Hand in the trailer. He might have even been facing off against something like a character like Boomerang in there also. So I think a tonal shift is very much needed. And I'm not saying that this is the time where we go like full on dark, like the Amazing Spider-Man with Andrew Garfield or anything like that. We got to get really grounded. No, but I do think it's maybe starting to take itself a little bit more seriously. Maybe some of the themes are a little bit more serious, bigger stakes to some of the battles and the villains here. I'm under the impression this is still going to be kind of New York City based, kind of more grounded, if you will, or ground level characters. So I really want to see a Peter Parker kind of embracing this solo life, this idea of I've got to make it on my own. I got to get a job, I got to get a career for myself while also kind of balancing my education when it comes to going to the university and stuff. So I think there are some really fun things that Destin can certainly do different, that just based alone on Peter Parker's age, where he finds himself at right now, that the idea of a tonal change makes just a lot more sense to me. It just makes a lot more sense to me. So I'm hoping that this Spider-Man feels a little bit more grown up. And if they can do that, I think that's wonderful. And I think to the fact that he says the other people on board approached me wanting to kind of do things differently. I would like to hear from Tom Holland how he personally sees Peter Parker in this aspect of his life, and what are some of the switch ups that he would certainly like to see. Maybe he's much more fully fledged in, I'm a superhero full time, 24/7. Like this is me. I don't really have any friends to kind of slow me down. My focus has been on being a superhero for those in the neighborhood. And really maybe that's where his focus is, and he hasn't really necessarily taken a break for himself. Like that alone, that mentality alone asks for a completely different tone when it comes to this movie. So Destin talking about changing things up. The article itself comes across like it's worried and concerned because now you're changing on the formula on something that works. But I think 3 movies in, going into a 4th with a brand new director and Peter Parker in a different complete stage of his life, I think a switching up of the formula works. And I think if you are going to switch it up with anybody, Destin Daniel Cretton as the director off of a really well accepted film like Shang-Chi feels like a really great natural course of change of course of direction. So we'll see what happens here, but nothing he says concerns me. I think if anything, it gives me hope that this movie is going to feel vastly different than what we've had before and taking Spider-Man to the next level. And I think that's exactly what we certainly need. But yeah, let me know your guys' thoughts. Maybe you feel a little bit differently than me. But and I'm not one of those people that I don't have revisionist history on my mind. Like I see a lot of people now crapping on No Way Home after it was like the hottest fucking thing since it came out. Like everybody was absolutely loving that movie, and now years later, I see a lot of people trying to rewrite history and nitpick at it and complain about it and all the things that they felt didn't work about them. Like people just coming out of the woodwork, like just flipping on people. Flipping on John Watts, who I thought did an incredible job with his trilogy. Oh, he didn't do as much comic book accurate stuff as we wanted. Spider-Man barely swings that way. Like we weren't bitching about this stuff when these movies were great and hitting us in the fucking face in the movie theaters. But now we just kind of want to switch up on these people. I think John Watts did a marvelous job with his trilogy. I personally wasn't necessarily the biggest fan of Far From Home. I know some people have that as their highest ranked Spider-Man movie out of that trilogy. Not me personally, but I still think John Watts just absolutely nailed Tom Holland as Peter Parker through his high school ages here. And I thought he was the appropriate director for that appropriate time of Peter Parker's life. And now it's time to bring somebody else in for the new stage of Peter Parker's life and give us a new vision. And anytime you bring in a new director, that's what I expect. I don't expect the new director to just do what the other person did. If that was the case, we just keep the old director if that's the case. So him coming on board with fresh ideas, and not just his fresh ideas, but ideas from the people around him also, who have the same interest in changing things up or taking Spider-Man in a uniquely different direction that'll be beneficial to the character in the MCU, I think is a really big win. But yeah, guys, let me know your thoughts in regards to the tonal change that the director sets to bring to Spider-Man Brand New Day. Let me sip on this coffee a little bit, man. My mouth is getting a little parched. And look, guys, do me a big favor. Wherever you might be watching us from, whether that be YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, hit that like button, man. The like button really does help out our algorithm, gets us in front of more people. So again, even if you can't help us out monetarily, that like button really does go a long way. Maybe even share this video, copy the link, throw it on your social media account, let people know Hero Report is live today. All right, we will transition from there over to some television. Let's get into some television real quick. Where are my Power Ranger fans at, boy? Where are my Power Ranger fans at? We got some reboot casting news and some new details from the series beginning to emerge here. I got an article from you guys from Mega Power Brazil. Even got my boy Jinsaku with some new information as of maybe like 3 days ago. It feels like we're finally getting casting announcements starting to trickle out here. You know, we talked a little bit a long time ago about the potential of short list of names. There were a bunch of names that were kind of being thrown around out there in regards to people going out for either the Red Ranger role or other roles within this Power Rangers reboot. So after the short list that we talked about a couple weeks back, we haven't really brought you any news because we really wanted more concrete information to start rolling out. And it seems as though we are getting there. Production for the Power Rangers reboot is set to go ahead and begin in April. And casting is very much certainly on the way, or underway, I should say. And we might have some names here along with some brand new details. So maybe I should get into, before I get into the casting, let me get into some of the details that are beginning to emerge here. Let me bring this up. This is from Mega Power Brazil. You know, I use Mega Power Brazil because it seems like they are one of the few Power Ranger websites out there that actually aggregate a lot of Power Ranger news, and it's really easy for me to find. They really do a good job of keeping up with things in regards to this. So let me pull this up. So according to rumors, the Disney Power Ranger series will not be a reboot of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. It says a new phase of Power Rangers is beginning to take shape behind the scenes. Information from insiders and experts from the early script draft indicate that the reboot promises to bring changes while preserving classic elements of the franchise. It also says, according to the information released during the audition process, this series will not feature Jason, Zach, Billy, Trini, or Kimberly as protagonists. Instead, the production will introduce a new team of Rangers. They do have some names here, but I believe that these actually might be the suggestion for these names here. It says Charlie, River, Jordan, Frankie, and Bailey. Kind of under the impression that they're just placeholder names, that they're actually not the names of the characters per se. But it does look as though they're not going to be going with the classic Jason, Zach, Billy, Trini information. It looks as though they're going to be names. It looks like they're going to be introducing us to brand new Rangers. I am going to come back to that real quick, but I do want to also show you Jinsaku's stuff also. He says, I've only received bits and pieces at this moment. And they're out of order. This appears to be an early rough draft, so details could absolutely change by the final script. He also confirms it is set to introduce new Rangers. I can't confirm if the suits are MMPR, but the powers seem to be passed down from a previous Ranger team that existed in the past, which could very well be the original MMPR. The colors are the classic MMPR colors, though. So if we're talking about color scheme, we are going back to the basics: red, blue, black, pink, and yellow. In this draft of the script, red is written as a male, though I know for a fact auditions were open to all genders, so they could change by the final version, and we might have a final version casting for you. The villain appears to be female. And lastly, this lines up with the existing casting rumor that we're back in high school. Jinsaku did post, I don't know if I can read this or not, a piece of the script. Uh, exterior small town at night. The script reads, a quiet town, too quiet. Street lights hum. Wind moves through empty streets. A man in his 40s jogs, earbuds in. His music glitches into static. He slows, stops. Across the street, a bus stop clock flickers. And he says some different times. The air shimmers for a moment. A transparent futuristic structure overlays the street. Then the man is gone. His phone clatters to the pavement. Smashed to black. Title card, Power Rangers. I don't know if there's any more to that script that he had, but that's all I'm showing right now. So it looks as though powers seem to be passed down from a previous Ranger team that existed in the past, according to Jinsaku there. Let me go back to the Mega Power Brazil. Despite the new characters, the series seems to maintain a strong connection to the legacy of MMPR. According to the information revealed, the team's colors follow the classic pattern. It's not yet confirmed whether the costumes will officially be MMPR, but according to the rumor, the powers are apparently inherited from a previous team that existed in the past. The character's gender and mystery villain. Let me see. Back to high school opening scene. The document posted by Insider Jinsaku shows the brief place, yada, yada, yada. Another important detail revealed is that the team will morph in the very first episode. This suggests that a series will not excessively prolong the hero's origin story, opting for a faster pace right from the start. Finally, one of the lines associated with the listing material sums up the spirit of the new story well. Can I save the world from this baffling curse? The phrase indicates that the central threat may go beyond physical villains, involving concepts such as curses, distortions of reality, or consequences of the past. So it does look like we're going to have ourselves a new group of teenagers that wind up inheriting the abilities of the Power Rangers of some sort of previous team. Same color scheme as the classic MMPR, whether or not they're acquiring the MMPR powers or the powers of another previous team, who certainly knows. But it does seem as though this is the concept seems very much like either this world has forgotten about the idea of Power Rangers, or like they've just been gone for such a long time that now they're kind of needed again. So it does feel like, even though it's a reboot, this isn't to necessarily say that like these characters coexist with the franchise's past 28 years of things, right? Like in this world, just because they're inheriting powers from Power Rangers in the past, it doesn't mean that necessarily in this world there were RPM Rangers at one point, or there were Turbo Rangers at one point, right? Like maybe in this world they've only known MMPR Rangers, and the MMPR Rangers were around for very long periods of time until they kind of went away, or maybe some sort of spell made people forget about them, or they just haven't necessarily been needed in several generations, or whatever the case may be. So I am kind of curious to learn a little bit more about the lore of this world. Who knows? Maybe in some way, shape, or form, there is a recognition of all the past Power Rangers that kind of came before. Maybe it'll be very subtle, right? Like maybe they'll suggest, the Power Ranger legacy has gone on for a millennia or several generations, but they never really name the different iterations of Power Rangers to kind of keep it open-ended. You just know that there's a long, vast history of other Power Rangers kind of before you. So maybe that would be like an open-ended way to nod to the past, Saban and Disney era kind of Power Ranger stuff. But I'm kind of under the impression that this is still in the sense of a reboot, starting fresh, not really attached to any continuity that certainly came before, but there is a level of lore and mythology about the Rangers themselves that inhabit this kind of world. Who knows? Maybe even though these are new characters, maybe they do name drop Zach, Billy, Trini, Jason, things like that, from the past, and recognize them as previous MMPR Rangers. But maybe that past history is different from what we've known as Power Ranger fans for such a long time. So less lore might be easy for them to kind of come in and dive in and tell the story that they certainly want to. And being subtle about the past connections, I think, is probably a really good way to go here. But I'm excited for this, man. I'm excited for this. We do have some casting information here. A lot of this stuff is coming to us from Legacy of the Nerd, I believe. The Legacy of Nerd. They have some exclusive reports here. I will say, he's come out with a lot of exclusives. I don't know if I have seen Jinsaku push back against any of these. One thing I have not seen Jinsaku do is officially name them as a particular Ranger color, but I have seen Jinsaku confirm the names themselves, if that makes sense, right? Legacy of Nerd is taking it one further step in suggesting this is their color. So let's just go through these. So again, Jinsaku, I don't believe, has confirmed the color schemes for these characters, but Legacy of Nerd certainly is. So maybe take that aspect with a grain of salt as of right now, but we'll see. So we got 3 casting suggestions here. Avatar: Last Airbender actress Momona Tamada is in talks for the Power Ranger reboot. His sources indicate her role would be the Pink Ranger. Now, we have heard Momono's name listed several times within that short list, so this feels very accurate to me that she is going to have a prevalent role in the series itself. He also says Descendants actor Joel Olette is in final talks for the Power Rangers Disney reboot. I believe his name might have popped up in the shortlist also. His sources indicate that he would be the Blue Ranger in the group. And then lastly, the other confirmation he has is Andy Mack actress Peyton Elizabeth Lee is in final talks for the Power Ranger reboot. My sources indicate her role would be the Red Ranger. So you heard the script itself was written for a male Red Ranger, but that the auditions were very much open to gender. So it's a possibility here that Peyton Elizabeth Lee has landed the role of the Red Ranger. From some of the sources that I've been, or some of the things that I have been reading, she's already, wherever they plan on filming this, she's already out there with their family. Wouldn't be surprised if they're out there like touring, looking at, going over some of the scripts, talking about, what needs to be done. Who knows? Maybe they have already started, like, if filming and production begins in April, maybe some of these people are being flown out to start working on their choreography and any sorts of like training that they need. They might be out there for several months before filming begins. So maybe that would explain being out there in the first place with your family. Maybe they're going to be huddled in. I don't know. Was this Ireland? I don't know where they're actually filming and producing this Power Rangers reboot. Somebody let me know in the comment section where production for this is certainly going to begin. So these are the 3 names that we have that are being confirmed right now. Peyton Elizabeth Lee possibly as Red, Joel Olette as the Blue Ranger possibly, and Momona Tamada possibly as Pink. Are all in final talks for the Power Ranger reboot. So those are the 3 names that we have kind of currently floating around right now. We'll see what turns out to be true in regards to the color scheme of things, but I'm excited for this regardless. I will say, if there is any concern, and something that I hope is addressed as filming takes place, while they say that the script was written for male, but they're open to gender, there is a part of me that is kind of hoping that if Peyton Elizabeth Lee did land the role of the Red Ranger, if she does end up being the female Red for this series, which wouldn't surprise me, just because I just feel like we're at at that point in time where if we are going to reboot Power Rangers, it's probably time for a female Red Ranger. So that wouldn't surprise me. My worry is that, and I've heard other actresses talk about this, is that some roles are written as male roles, and that sometimes they may decide, you know what, a female would actually be better for this role, and then they just implant the female character into the script with still some of the same male kind of attributes and aspects to them, right? And I have heard some pushback in regards to that, in the sense of like, if so my worry would be, if we are going to have a female Red Ranger in here, I would think that that would require then some level of script rewrite, because a female Red Ranger is not going to be the same as a male Red Ranger, right? Like, they're going to approach things differently. They're going to have different mentalities in regards to how they handle situations from an emotional kind of standpoint, from a leadership standpoint, right? Like, you can't just implant a female onto male characteristics. Like, you have to be able to allow, if it's going to be a female to be the lead, their story has to be their own. It can't just be, hey, we had some dude in mind in here and this is what we wrote this series around, but it's okay, we're just going to make you a female instead and just kind of roll with the same thing. I don't necessarily know if that's necessarily the smartest move. So we'll see. We'll see. If it was meant to be written for a male and the females in place, once we actually start getting the episodes itself, when we start seeing the character traits and how she handles herself, some of her past history, then we'll see if they made any changes, or if this could have equally have been just a male in this position also. So that would be my only concern and pushback. But other than that, I am excited for what this is certainly going to be. Apexi says, I'll say, when it comes to Power Rangers reboot, is finally taking shape. Yeah, slowly but surely, it's finally taking shape. This certainly will happen. At this particular rate, if filming is supposed to be beginning in April in 2026, I do expect maybe like a fall 2027 release for this series, or maybe if it's got heavy special effects, I mean, who knows, maybe they push this to early 2028, but I would say try and make the 2027 fall time period if you can. PCW says, I'm glad it's not a reboot. I mean, it seems like it's oh yeah, so I see. Yeah, so it's not necessarily starting off. It feels very much like Power Rangers have existed, what came before might have existed, and we're just building kind of off of it, if you will. I hope it's passed down from In Space or Zeo. Yeah, we'll see what power scheme they wind up passing down. We got Tony Robinson in the house. What's up, Tony? Appreciate you certainly coming through. There are so many pig-headed people complaining about Red being a woman. It's ridiculous. I personally have not seen pushback in regards to it. Then again, I haven't necessarily been in the comment section for a lot of Power Ranger stuff lately. Like when Legacy of Nerd posted this stuff, I don't think I even read any of the comments, so I don't know how people necessarily feel about Peyton Elizabeth Lee in the role of Red Ranger. I'm not familiar really with any of these actors' work except for Momona from Avatar, but that's really about it. But I haven't really I really have not been paying too much attention. Tony Robinson says they're filming in London. Okay, so yeah, maybe they're getting early glimpses at maybe some of the set designs that are taking place, that are being built. Choreography certainly wouldn't surprise me also. PCW says, I don't care who the Red Ranger is as long as they're a good leader. Yeah, I agree. I just hope that she has her own story and it's not just a story that's been implanted from the previous male character arc, right? Like I hope it's an arc that's much more suitable for her as a person and as a character. Tony Robinson says, Adam, I got a feeling black will be a woman and yellow will be a man. That'll be interesting to check out. I would be open to that. We've had some male Yellow Rangers before, going back to the original Super Sentai series. We also had yellow. Wasn't Calvin yellow in Ninja? Wait, Ninja Steel, right? We had a yellow male character there. Why am I tripping? I know there was another yellow male character. There was Kara Major had a yellow male character. We even had a pink ranger in male pink ranger in semi pink in Tokuger, but then full on pink in Don Brothers also. I think you could pull off a male yellow. I really do think you can. I would not be opposed to a female black ranger and a female pink ranger. I think that'd be a nice little switch up there, honestly. So we'll see. We'll keep you guys posted with any other news though, but that's all that we have in regards to some things that Jinsaku has followed up with, along with other sources from Legacy and Nerd. But as we get more throughout the week, we'll keep you guys posted. But yeah, guys, let me know your thoughts. And last but not least, guys, we have one more topic to talk about, and that is finally Masters of the Universe. That's right. We finally got ourselves our very first teaser trailer for Masters of the Universe. We have been waiting around for quite some time for this. If you guys recall, towards the tail end of the year, there was speculation that a trailer could drop like any minute. We had waited every week during December, and unfortunately nothing ever transpired. But longer, as we finally do have a trailer for He-Man, Masters of the Universe. They even went ahead and released a brand new poster, a teaser poster for you also. This is set to go ahead and drop in theaters on June 5th. If you have not had the opportunity to check out the Masters of the Universe trailer, fear not. I'm going to see if I can bring this up. We'll watch this one together, and then we'll talk a little bit about it. But let's go.
All that stuff that only exists in legends and bedtime stories. Talking tigers, spaceships, and magic swords that can make a man as mighty as a god. Where I come from, that stuff is real. Why did you send me away?
I wanted you to be safe. So I sent you to a place I knew that they'd never find you. There's...
This obsession with nerd stuff and sword things, it's not a good look for human resources.
I know it sounds crazy, but that sword is gonna show me the way home.
That's a gorgeous sword. I love that sword.
Sir, you can't do that.
Don't worry. The sword's mine.
Hold on, it's about to get weird.
Epic shot. I love that shot. Damn, costumes look great.
What am I supposed to do? Take the sword.
Hey, man, team. Woo.
I have the power!
Yo, let's go, baby. Let's go. Damn. Woo. Yo, this, oh my God. Oh my God. Yo, watching the trailer again on the bigger screen is like I think now that I come to think about it, when I've watched this trailer, I've watched it like every time I've watched it on my phone. But now that I had the opportunity to like blow it up full screen on my computer, dude, it looks so fucking good. Like it looks so freaking good. Um, Man, I cannot wait for this movie. I cannot wait for this movie. This might surprise some of you guys, but for me, Masters of the Universe is like my most anticipated movie of the year. That's not to say that I think it's going to be the best movie of the year, but it's literally the one that I'm looking forward to the absolute most. And after watching this trailer again for like the sixth, seventh time, I'm sold, man. I'm sold. There's only one issue that I have with this so far, and it is the approach to Prince Adam that Travis Knight might take. The guy that's playing him, damn, what the hell? I don't even remember what his name is now. Let me see. Masters Universe cast. It's like Nicholas something. Yeah, Nicholas Galitzine. When I think of Prince Adam, I do think of like a nerd or like a weakling. Like he doesn't have that same gravitas or big manly voice like He-Man certainly would, right? But the way that he's portraying Prince Adam in here, or Adam Glenn as his name is on Earth, the shot where he's trying to like struggle to get the sword down, he's like, it's okay, it's mine. It just feels really over the top nerdy. Like it's hard for me to imagine that voice coming out of Nicholas Galitzine. Like somebody as big as this dude is, it's hard for me to imagine that voice coming out of his body. So, I am curious as to how he's gonna play it up a little bit. It gives me like Clark Kent Superman vibes. Like Clark Kent is a secret identity that he plays around with people like to live in their world and make people feel comfortable about him. But he can flip the switch and turn into Superman if he kind of needs to. So I am kind of curious as to Adam's place in this world. He narrates this trailer in the sense of he knows where he comes from. So is Prince Adam or Adam Glenn in here playing up a role of being somebody nerdy in order to throw off the scent that he knows that he's something more, and he's trying to be as under the radar as he possibly can for people. I'm not under the impression from the teaser trailer that he's been like mind wiped or some sort of spell's been put on him that he doesn't know where he's from. Not like somebody's just going to come in and be like, hey, you're He-Man, by the way, from another planet, like and reveal his past to him. It feels like he knows his past, and if he knows his past, I think that's actually a little bit more interesting to me, to live on a planet that you don't necessarily belong on and are trying to get back home to. Who knows how long he's been trying to find his sword in his way back home. So it'll be interesting. But the nerdy aspect of Adam Glenn, I am kind of scratching my head a little bit, and I'm hoping that Travis Knight can find the balance there. Outside of that, though, dude, there are some Thor Ragnarok isms in here. When people say this reminds them of Love and Thunder, no. Like Thor Love and Thunder is 100 times more outlandish than even Thor Ragnarok was. Thor Ragnarok, I think, had the ability of telling a well-focused and serious story while having levity of humor here and there that just really worked very well for where their characters were in their arcs. But I see Thor Ragnarok isms in here in the sense of not taking itself too seriously. There's even like one or two shots that feel literally ripped out of the movie itself, like the shot of the group coming down from out of the spacecraft where you got Adam and Teela and Man at Arms and Cringer and stuff. That feel and I can't remember what the other character's name was, but that could have just been the Incredible Hulk in Thor Ragnarok. You know what I mean? So that one looks familiar to me. And then the shot of Man of Arms jumping towards the spacecraft with his hammer in slow motion, that side view, that feels like something like a shot out of Thor Ragnarok that I've kind of seen. whether that was Valkyrie attacking somebody, whatever the case may be. But like I feel like there's like a couple shots that remind me of Thor Ragnarok. But I love Thor Ragnarok. Even the world building of Eternia in here, just from a visual perspective, is gorgeous. It's beautiful. It looks well designed, well lived in. It reminds me of the first Thor movie, also, where you've got him clearly spending time on Earth, but you also have to do a great job of building up Eternia and having amazing set design pieces. And we have that, whether that be the castle itself, where you've got what looks like a Helm's Deep two towers sort of fight going on at night, all the soldiers that are in there, the cool explosions, the long like hallway sequences of running, and just the cool like pillars and stuff that are really built onto the set. Castle Grayskull looks amazing. Seeing the sorceress in the opening, you know, flying through as a colorful bird flying through Eternia, seeing some of the sci-fi vehicle designs that feel really stripped out of the 1980s cartoon. All this just like really works for me. Man of Arms looks incredible in his costume design. Snake Mountain looks amazing. Skeletor really literally ripped out of the cartoon, with a actual skull as a face. I mean, dude, outside of just the worry that I have for Adam Glenn's character and just how they will handle him being on Earth, outside of that, I think all the Eternia stuff is going to kick our asses. I think Travis Knight is going to do a remarkable job. And just that last shot sequence of the battle between, or even the brief moment between Tila and Evil Lyn goes hard in here. And then Skeletor going up against He-Man looks like an animation visionary dream kind of come to life. Like, if Travis Knight ever depicted what a He-Man and Skeletor fight might look like in his head and thought that's badass, he's going to put that on the big screen. And it looks like he's already kind of tapped into that. The I have the power moment where, you know, he says and he puts his sword up and you get to see the smoke of Castle Grayskull behind his back too. The soundtrack continues to grow on me more and more. I mean, man, every time I watch this trailer, I keep thinking to myself, I truly do think that they have something special here. And so I'm keeping my fingers crossed that this really, really works out. Let me see what you guys are saying though. Indy in the house. What's up, Indy? Missing y'all, bro. Missing you and the subscribers like crazy. Hashtag I have the power. Fire. Yeah, dude. I'm really excited for this. Kiki Lucas says should all be taking place on Eternia. I'm really disappointed in the trailer, but I hope I'm wrong and I hope it's good. I mean, look, I understand that. I understand that. I mean, the series itself takes place in Eternia. You know, the idea of placing it on Earth, look, I mean, Masters of the Universe, the first one was placed on Earth too. I'm not going to sit here and say it's easy to write a Masters of the Universe. I mean, you could have started this out in Eternia if you wanted to, but I do wonder if I am curious as to why they went that route though. I wonder if they went that route in a way to kind of humanize Adam and the He-Man character a little bit, so that us as audiences can relate to maybe some of the things and the struggles that he's kind of going on, living on Earth, before he gets thrusted into Eternia, because then maybe his like perspective on things and how he views the world of Eternia might be filtered a little bit through us as the viewer and how we might view some of the things, right? Like if he hasn't been there since a child and he spent all his life on Earth, the sensibilities of being an Earthling, I think, probably have grown on him to a certain capacity. So going back to his planet after being transplanted here for such a long time, I would think that he would have some of our sensibilities as a viewer being thrusted into that world. And so maybe this is Travis Knight's sort of mentality of like connecting the audience to this character a little bit more. So there's a little bit more of an emotional connection. when he goes through some of these brand new experiences. So, but I got no pushback for anybody that wants this movie to take place fully on Eternia. I think it's all about what our own personal expectations was of what we would like to see from a Masters of the Universe, to now kind of finally get a glimpse of, well, they may not necessarily be going the route that I intended or I certainly thought. But I'm definitely going to give somebody like Travis Knight, who has done remarkable work so far on his own, going to give him the benefit of the doubt that they've got something special here, and see how it goes. So yeah, I'm not mad for people that wanted to see this movie on Eternia, but I think there is something to the idea of him being on Earth, maybe. Peg C, if Masters of the Universe becomes successful, I would like to see She-Ra, Princess of Power, be brought into live action. I mean, maybe she's brought into like a sequel or something like that, kind of introduced. I am also seeing, I saw somebody speculating the idea of, like, if He-Man is successful, maybe we can get ourselves a Thundercats movie. And I thought I heard rumors and rumblings of a Thundercats movie a long time ago, like right after that Godzilla Empire, or that Godzilla versus Kong Empire, whatever it was called. I thought the director of that was going on to make a Thundercats movie, but maybe I'm tripping. I haven't heard an update in that regards. But if Masters of the Universe works, and I think if I believe there are, I don't know if there's a connection to them in the comic books. If in the comic books they're part of an all-encompassing kind of universe or not, but I would not be mad if Masters of the Universe and Thundercats all took place within the same galaxy, or have some sort of connective tissues that we could eventually get like a Thundercats movie, and then maybe a big crossover event between Masters of the Universe. I really don't know. I don't even know if they're even the same like company owns them or not. So I could be getting way beyond anything right now. But if Masters of the Universe becomes successful, She-Ra, Princess of Power, I don't know if she would get her own live action, but maybe pop up as part of like a cameo, supporting character in a potential sequel. I really have no idea how much money they're spending on this movie, but visually it looks breathtaking to me. I get vibes of Dungeons and Dragon, Honor Amongst Thieves, with what I thought had great visuals too, but also a great balance of humor. My two comparisons would definitely be Dungeons and Dragons and the Thor movies, Thor and Thor Ragnarok, in regards to building up of a world, establishing how vastly different that this world certainly is. It does feel like they're taking examples of the Thor movie, the first one also, right? Like it didn't take place fully in Asgard. Like I think some of us wanted this movie to take place in Eternia, but I do think it's got, they transplant Thor into another world that he's not familiar with. I think it's kind of the reverse here for Prince Adam. Kiki and Lucas says, oh, Thundercats would be awesome. So would Robotech and Battle of the Planets. Yeah, I would be on board with all of those. I don't know about Robotech. I don't know if they're doing anything Robotech wise. I know they are doing Gundam Wing, but Robotech was always one I would love to see. There's a couple things. Silverhawks, I would love to see Silverhawks done. Maybe not, I don't know if in live action, but definitely in some more animation stuff. Pexy says Thundercats movie would be fire. I think so too. I swore after that latest Godzilla versus King Kong movie, I swore that there was talks about that director taking over or doing something when it comes to Thundercats, but I haven't heard anything in development since that news dropped. So it could still be like in the ether somewhere for all I know. But yeah, guys, let us know your thoughts in regards to the Masters of the Universe teaser trailer. As a kid who grew up in the 80s, who loved the cartoon series, I've tried to go back and even rewatch the 1980s cartoon. It's hard to watch. I'm not even going to lie. Like, it's hard to watch. Like, there's just a silly aspect about it that hit really well as a kid. I was a big fan of, like, the small little comic book pamphlets that they used to have for it, along with the action figures. I had a ton of Masters of the Universe action figures. So to be able to see them really leaning into it, especially with the character designs like that of Skeletor and Evil Lyn and Man Beast. I think Fisto guy. I don't even know the Man Fist. I don't even know the fuck his name was, but with the big fist punching whoever it certainly was in here. I mean, they really are sticking true to the toy line and the lore that certainly came before it from the cartoon. So it should be an interesting one, man. It should be an interesting one. And I'm keeping my fingers crossed that enough people are fascinated with it. Maybe they haven't been introduced to He-Man before, but they see this and they're like, that looks kind of dope. That looks kind of dope. But yeah, guys, let me know your thoughts on the teaser trailer and your levels of excitement for June 5th, baby. Masters of the Universe. I love this poster too, by the way. But yeah. All right, guys. I think, hold on a second. I gotta get this set up real quick. I think with that out of the way, I think you know what time it is.
And now, everybody, it is time for live viewer questions.
And it's time for live viewer questions. If you ever want to submit a live viewer question over, how do you do so? Let me show you. So every Saturday afternoon or Saturday evening, I will make a live viewer question post. Just go over to our YouTube channel, as you see right here. Click on this post tab. And voila, live viewer questions. Let's see what we got here. Let me scroll down. Let me sort these by new. And if you haven't submitted it over, you certainly have some time. I'll refresh before I end off these topics, though. All right, let's go. AJ, the morphing grid, the power transfer completely gone or duplicated during the power transfer arc. The use of stand-ins and stock footage masked the departure of the original cast, culminating in a visual where two sets of the same Rangers stood side by side. The convoluted ritual involving the Sword of Light suggested that the powers were duplicated rather than truly moved. Interesting. A theory supported by Jason later appearing with his powers intact in Forever Red, while Kimberly later bypassed this ritual by simply handing over her power coin to Catherine. The earlier process acted like more of a data transfer between devices. If the original trio kept their connection to the morphin grid, does this mean that Rocky, Adam, and Aisha were merely using copies of the original coins that were eventually turned to dust by Goldar in the Alien Ranger mini saga? I would say yeah. And I think that's only using copies. I believe so, because we did get, like you said before, the suggestion of Jason later appearing to use the power intact in Forever Red. He uses it again when he comes back for, was it Dino Fury? Right? When the Dino Fury crossover that we wind up having. And his power coin is fully intact. So yeah, I'm kind of under the impression that they're kind of like data copies of what came before. Don't think it makes you any less powerful or anything like that, but yeah, if there's a theory that I feel holds up, it might be the copy theory for sure. Maybe I'm wrong though. Let me know what do you guys think? Nathaniel, what's up, Nathaniel? Which do you prefer, tacos or burritos? I personally prefer burritos because tacos are gone with a couple of minutes and make you feel like you threw your money away. I am a fan of both. But if I gotta pick, I'm probably gonna go with tacos. I'm a sucker for a mean breakfast burrito. If you can make me a mean breakfast burrito, oh my God, I'll melt. I love a good breakfast burrito. Chipotle makes some pretty good big wraps or burritos also. They're pretty yummy. I will say it does take longer to enjoy a burrito. It does fill me up for sure. So in that respect, you definitely feel like you get your money's worth with burritos. But it's just something about tacos, man. Just something about damn tacos. My girlfriend makes some mean tacos. And that's not racist. I mean, she is Mexican, but still, her family makes some amazing, like, tacos. Just getting that fresh meat, whether that be the lime, the onions, cilantro, whatever special sauces and salsas they certainly might make. I mean, it's just like a smorgasbord of tacos out there in the world to just enjoy different types, right? You can have meats, you can have seafood on there if you want to, cabbage sprinkled on there. I mean, the possibilities of the different types of tacos you can just experience and the types of meat that you can interchange out of it. It just seems like the options are just endless. And yeah, you know, I can inhale street tacos like they're nothing. It may not necessarily feel like, man, I got my money's worth, but the flavors and the tastes are always there. And yeah, man, I love me some tacos, bro. I love me some tacos. Can't go wrong with tacos. And it's just good for any occasion, you know, summer, winter. My girl makes a mean fried taco. Like it's she'll get the tortilla, she'll lather it with some like black bean smears in there, and then she'll fold it and she'll throw it in the oil and let it cook so it gets a little crispy. And we open it up and then you put in your own toppings like the homemade tacos. If you want lettuce, tomato, she does this really great combination of like beef and potato mixture that she makes. Chuck that in there too. Fried taco, nice crunch. Put on some sour cream drizzle on it, boy, or maybe even some salsa, some special salsa she might make or her family might make. Boy, I'm telling you, my mouth is watering thinking about it. Tacos all day. Tacos all day. Blossom, if they decide to do to continue on with Super Sentai, what theme from the heroes would you like to see? Well, I don't think Super Sentai, I don't think it's going to be back for a while. I mean, who knows? Maybe a Super Sentai team might pop up in the Sheriff Space Gavin thing. Maybe one representing a particular team or something like that. But I think it's going to be teams that we've already seen. I don't know if they're going to introduce us to any new Super Sentai teams within the Space Sheriff Gavin. So I'm not under the impression that we will get Super Sentai. But if they decided to eventually continue along with Super Sentai, you know, because I think it'll probably be like another 10 years before they even decide, hey, let's try and bring back Super Sentai. Maybe I'm wrong though. I really want them to go back to classic martial arts. You know, I really just want the theme of martial arts. I've said this before. I think we are in a different time period and era where it'd be cool to see other martial arts at the forefront or recognized, you know. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, I think, would be a really interesting one to have. A Muay Thai fighter would be interesting. Whatever the fighting style, Wushu, I don't know. What was the fighting style for like Ip Man and stuff? I would love to see that. Maybe some Drunken Master included in there also. Maybe even a boxer would be kind of cool to throw in there. But maybe some classic, some new levels of martial arts as the theme, but also maybe associated with going back to if you can find some of those martial art techniques or like their origin and base those off of maybe mythological creatures also, connect those two together, I think would be pretty dope is what I would like to see. For those of you who are familiar with the TMNT, who are your favorite side characters? My personal side character was Neutrinos, kind of like the 50s, 60s slang they speak. Yeah, I'm always, Casey Jones all day, man. Casey Jones always impressed me. Marky Parko, what's up, Marky? What do you think about the preference for long-awaited high-quality film sequels over revival shows that often fizzle out after a single season? While a meticulously crafted movie can honor the legacy decades later, many television reboots fail to gain traction or face immediate cancellation due to studio interference and fan backlash. This divide highlights a growing tension between cinematic patience and a volatile nature of modern streaming revivals. Do you believe the risk of one and done revival series is worth it, or should the studios focus more on the rare prestige sequel? Hmm. Hmm. I don't know. I mean, I do think you bring up a good point about revival shows sometimes not necessarily gaining traction. Like, I'm actually kind of surprised. I think isn't there like a new, and it's not really a revival, but it's kind of like a continuation of like The Office, right? I think they have like a new series called The Paper. I don't know if that's already canceled or if it was well received and already have plans for like a season 2. But I do believe there are things where it's like, yeah, the series itself kind of fizzled out in some instances. But I don't really know of many situations where it's like it was a movie and you can either turn it into a sequel for a movie or turn that movie into a television series reboot. I don't really know too many of those circumstances. It's usually, I guess, if I had like a preference, it probably would be maybe a sequel movie. But I think sometimes if they go the route of revival show, maybe it's a case of like the budget, and maybe you're not investing as much money into a show, a revival show, as you would be for, say, something like a sequel movie that could bomb at the box office. You know what I mean? Maybe a revival show, if it gets canceled after 1 year, it's like less of an investment instead of having put so much money towards an actual sequel. I would probably prefer movie over series, but that's just me. Doomsday. Do you agree with the people that say that Jaden Shiba, the Red Ranger, stole the aura from Takura Shiba, Shinken Red, or do you prefer to say that Takura passed on his aura to Jaden? I would say he passed on his aura to Jaden, just because Jaden is second. I don't. Uh, Personally, I prefer to say the latter. Now, granted, I haven't seen Shinkenger as a whole just yet, but just from the clips I've seen and from a handful of episodes I've watched, I like to say that Takura passed on his aura to Jaden. Yeah, that's how I would view it, mostly just because of just the order of things. How interesting would it be if Super Sentai had a season that was very influenced by American culture? It would be weird. It'd be weird. I don't know if it would. I don't know how well it would hold up, honestly. I mean, it would be interesting to kind of see their perspective of American culture. Maybe it can be kind of funny. Maybe if it was received as like a spoof season, similar to how their series of was it Turbo Ranger for them, might have worked out. If it's a spoof and it's about American culture, then maybe it might work. But if it's like a serious season, then no, I think they would miss it 100%. What awards do you think Sinners would win? I'm honestly going to be rooting for every award that it was nominated for, with the exception of Best Visual Effects, because I feel Avatar, Fire and Ash definitely has it in the bag. Um, Sinners nominations. Let me see. Oscar. Hold on. Because there were some categories I didn't necessarily all right, let me see. I'm going to go through this list here. Okay. So actress in supporting roles, Sinners is up for this with Wunmi Mosoku. I enjoyed her, but I think she's got some stiff competition. I think Tiana Taylor or Amy, even though I liked her better than Amy Madigan from Weapons, um, the actress that played Wunmi. To me, I haven't seen Ellie Fanning though from Sentimental Value, but I think Tiana Taylor. I don't think they're gonna win that category. So that's one. Makeup and hairstyling. The Smashing Machine was actually pretty damn good now that I think about it. I haven't seen the Ugly Stepsisters. Frankenstein is incredible, along with Sinners. Sinners, I think what Sinners has going for it is the time period that it's in. That's also some stiff competition, though. Frankenstein and the Smashing Machine could easily get it. That's a toss up for me, so I don't know. I'll come back to that one. Music, original score, Begonia, Frankenstein, Hamnet, One Battle After Another, Sinners. I think Sinners takes that. I think Sinners wins music for original score. Writing, original screenplay, Blue Moon, It Was Just an Accident, Marty Supreme, Sentimental Value, or Sinners. Again, I haven't seen Sentimental Value. Maybe I'll check that out. But as of right now, I am leaning towards Sinners in regards to writing for an original screenplay. I mean, the fact that this is an original piece by Ryan Coogler, I still enjoyed it more than Marty Supreme. I think, if anything, maybe Sentimental Value might have a shot. I haven't seen it yet, but it's up there as Best Picture nomination also, so there might be something to it. But I'll say Sinners has a shot of winning writing. So writing and musical score. Actor in a supporting role, Delroy Lindo is in here, but I think there's just too much. I even heard Stellan Skarsgård and Sentimental Value might be great. Sean Penn was amazing. I don't think they're going to win that one. Casting, Hamnet, Marty Supreme, One Battle After Another, Secret Agent, or Sinners. Sinners might get casting. Marty Supreme's got some heavy hitters in there, though. Man, I'll take Sinners for casting. Costume designs, Avatar, Frankenstein, Hamnet, Marty Supreme, Sinners. I'm actually probably going to take Frankenstein in there. I don't think costume design is great, but I think Frankenstein is phenomenal. A music original song. Ooh. I Lied to You is on here for Sinners, but Golden from the K-pop Demon Hunters was a banger. So I don't know. That's tough. No, I think K-pop Demon Hunters wins that one. I think overall music Sinners wins, but not original song. Production design, Frankenstein, Hamnet, Marty Supreme, One Battle After Another, or Sinners. I think Frankenstein will probably pick up production design, so no. Film editing, I don't think that'll go to Sinners. I think F1 will probably pick that up. Sound, I think that'll go to F1. Visual effects, I don't see Sinners. I don't see Sinners winning that. Cinematography, is a chance. Actor in the lead, no. Actress in the lead role, well, it's not up there, but actor in the lead role, no. I don't think Michael B. Jordan's winning. Directing, Michael Coogler might pick it out. I don't think it's going to win Best Picture, although I think it has an opportunity. So right now, I feel like I feel confident with 4, and I think that's what I said last time. I said I can see Sinners picking up like 4, 5, or 6 Oscars. I think there are definitely some coin flips here. So I think maybe like 6 Oscars it could easily win. It's definitely not winning all 16 because there are some stiff competitions in other categories. But I would say at the least 4, at the most 6, maybe 7. That's where I'll go. Pexi, what are your thoughts on the casting for Super Space Sheriff? I'm not too familiar with the casting. I haven't really checked them out yet, but I'm just going to trust it. I'm really just trying to go into Space Gavin as blind as I possibly can be, to be honest with you. Dragon Ball Super Anime is returning with the brand new arc called the Galactic Patrol sequel to the Tournament of Power. And also on January 25th, Um, Toei Animation officially announced an enhanced remake of the Battle of the Gods arc. I don't need to revisit. First, I don't need to revisit a enhanced remake of Battle of the Gods. Just give me more things I have not yet seen. So I'm not excited for the Beerus stuff, but pushing the Dragon Ball Super series forward with the Galactic Patrol, yes, I'm very much excited for that. If I can get Indy back on here on a regular basis, maybe I'll have Indy do reviews for you guys like he used to. What are your thoughts on Netflix finally waking up, realizing that theatrical and streaming are complementary and go hand in hand? Yeah, Ted Sarandos from Netflix recently made these comments saying that they're kind of coming around to the idea of realizing theatrical and streaming are complementary. This is something that me and Stuart have been talking about. Look, I take everything that Netflix says right now just as face value. Like, you have to show me before I can believe you. That's just all it is to me. Like, I feel like Ted is saying all the things that he needs to say in order for this thing to go through. So I don't trust Ted. I just don't trust Ted. But it is promising to hear these things. Whether or not they actually come to fruition, we'll see. But if he can stay true to, I think it's a 45-day window right now for theatrical releases. Hell, maybe even push these things back to 90. I would be completely open to that. But this notion of like a 2-week limited run and then releasing it on the streaming service, I think is detrimental. Granted, I think some people's argument would be, well, look, you make most of your money the first 2 weeks of theatrical release, and you're probably right. But come week 3, if my movie's still doing relatively well, I'm at least keeping my movie in there 30 days to 45 days. So I'm hoping they stay true to that, because I just think that there is benefit to the idea of forcing people to have to wait. You know, I don't want to say it's streaming services obligation to do this, because their obligation is always to the shareholders and just making money for themselves and for their shareholders. So of course they have the mindset of, we have to get this content onto our streaming service as fast as possible. But I do believe in the idea of building anticipation and having people eager for it to be released on streaming service by allowing these movies to stay in theaters for a long period of time. If people want to see these movies badly enough, they'll go to the movie theater. And if they don't, then they'll wait 3 to 6 months before it actually releases on streaming. But to have a movie that does well financially at the box office makes no sense to then pull it and then throw it onto your streaming service. If you keep it playing in theater for a long period of time, and those people that haven't had the opportunity to see it yet in theaters are waiting for it to come on streaming, or maybe you have some people that want to see it again so badly that they want to see it at home, you got to build up that level of anticipation and understand that by releasing it theatrically and keeping it in there for a period of time, you are building up that anticipation so that when it does drop on your streaming service, you got people coming in by the droves to go ahead and see it, new subscribers and things like that, instead of just, you know, chopping its legs from underneath it, not allowing it to make any money. Because why wouldn't you want to put a movie out in theaters for 2 to 3 weeks to 4 weeks to see if you can make some more of that money? Like, if you're so focused on the concept of money and making more money and not being in the deficit, use the theatrical experience to your advantage. Put it out there, make some money, and then you can turn that money over and do smaller films or more original streaming, you know, Netflix shows or whatever the case may be. But, you know, you utilize them both to make more money for yourself and more for your shareholders. Alex Ramirez, what's up, Alex? Appreciate you coming through today, man. I don't think we don't have a single question from Marcelino this week. Let's see here. Alex Ramirez, Tucker and Dale versus Evil is a lightning in a bottle masterpiece whose cult fans often prefer remain a standalone classic rather than risk a sequel. Since it remains largely unknown to the masses, the film perfectly subverts the hillbilly horror trope by turning accidental deaths into a hilarious comedy of errors. How do you think the story would have changed if the college student had stopped actually stopped to talk to Dale and Tucker instead of assuming the worst. Oh man, dude, it's been so long since I freaking watched this movie. I think my friend Maggie suggested this movie to me, if I'm not mistaken. And it was Alan Tudyk and was it Nick Frost? No. It's not Nick Frost. Damn. Tucker and Dale. Who played Dale? This is a 2010 movie. Okay, it was Ellie Craig. Was it Ellie Craig or Tyler Labine. Tyler Labine. Yeah, he was great. They were both great in this movie. I never laughed so damn hard in my life. It was so damn funny. I just don't remember. I've only seen this movie once though. But I always recommend it. It's really great. If you haven't had the opportunity to see it, please do yourselves a favor. But how do you think the story would have changed if the college students had actually stopped to talk? Oh, to talk to Tucker and Dale instead of assuming the worst? I mean, we wouldn't have the movie then. We wouldn't have the movie. I mean, the movie is literally based off of the idea of like the college students assuming the worst and like feeling like they were in like this Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie when in reality, like these are just the two dumbest like bricks in the road. But just to kind of see like the how we perceive people and sort of like the immediate stereotypes that we kind of put on them, you know, especially being like pulling over to some back alley road to get some gas or some, you know, neighborhood to pick up some groceries and then being approached by these two guys that like have the nicest intentions in mind, but just being like completely taken out of context. It this is pretty funny. The wood chopper scene was amazing to me. There's another shot where I think some kid is getting chased and something happens with like a tree stump or something like that. I mean, just the deaths are gnarly in here, but just seeing how like the college student perceived these two when the reality of these two are completely different. It was pretty damn funny. It was pretty brilliant film. My friends call me Joseph. Have you heard or seen the video of David Schwimmer's hilarious response to a lookalike robbing a store in Blackpool after fans joked that Ross was finally on a break? Schwimmer filmed a parody video of himself stealing beer in New York to prove his innocence, and the police even played along by confirming that Schwimmer was indeed not in the UK at the time of the crime. Do you think this kind of self-deprecating humor is the best way for a celebrity to handle a viral misunderstanding? Oh yeah, absolutely. I do like those that can make fun of themselves, that do have self-deprecating humor in the best of ways. I personally have not seen that, but now that you bring that up, Joseph, I'm gonna have to check it out. That sounds hilarious to me. The most talented man in the world. Appreciate you coming through. There's been ongoing speculation that Mark Ruffalo may be excluded from future MCU projects due to his vocal political activism and fan dissatisfaction with his character's comedic direction. Similarly, Zachary Levi has acknowledged that his own shift towards political commentary could potentially end his career in Hollywood. Do you think a performer's public ideology should outweigh their professional contributions to a franchise? Oh, yikes. Oh boy. I mean, now we're talking about like First Amendment rights and stuff. You know, as long as that ideology isn't triggering any level of hate towards people or harm towards people or echoing sentiments that could incite violence towards a group of people or aren't showing any levels of support towards those things, then no, it shouldn't outweigh their professional contributions to a franchise. But you know, that's hard. I mean, it is your First Amendment right. And there are some people that I do feel have gotten canceled for certain things that I think rightfully so should be held accountable for some of the stupid shit that you say, you know. But it also is really going to depend on the company that you work for and where the company kind of stands, you know. I don't know if I haven't heard anything in regards to Mark Ruffalo being excluded from future MCU projects. I guess it really just depends on where Disney stands by their own political beliefs. I guess if they share political beliefs, then I don't see why anything would happen. If they don't share the same political beliefs, then I guess I would ask the question, what are those beliefs? And like, I'll go back to what I said before. If it goes to the idea of hate mongering, harming a particular people in society, elevating hate speech towards somebody else that can literally do harm, or inciting any sort of level of violence, then yeah, I think people should be held accountable for the things that they say. But each situation certainly is different, I think. Alan, what's up, Alan? Is it me who finds it odd that Sony's massive success across electronics and diverse film projects like Spider-Verse series, why do they constantly struggle to maintain the same level of quality and critical reception for their live-action Marvel spin-offs? It is a fascinating paradox. Sony is a master of hardware and specific animation styles, but their live-action formula for superheroes often feels disconnected from what makes their other divisions or even Miles Morales films so polished. Yeah, for instance, I was watching 28 Years Later, and I believe that was a Sony production. And I loved both of those movies. I think the second one, Bone Temple, is even better than the first 28 Years Later. So it is amazing. I think it really just comes down to the level of people who are in charge of those particular divisions, right? Like, maybe while they have people that understand making movies, maybe there are some people that understand how to make animation, but maybe when it comes to the comic book aspect of things, maybe they just don't have those people that know how to make comic book movies per se. I think they've got somebody under their belt already in Lord and Miller, who are doing fantastic work with the animation side for the Spider-Verse. I think they're even tackling the TV side of Spider-Man. But I just find it peculiar that they don't allow them to play in the live action Marvel universe for Spider-Man. It's just really peculiar to me. So to me, that kind of screams the idea of like power and control that somebody wants to hold on to and helm in a particular creative way that maybe just doesn't fully understand how those comic book movies and genre movies are made. Maybe they're better at finding the creators and the directors to do more live action because that's what they're used to. Same thing when it comes to animation. They know how to land those people. But just when it comes to the comic book side of things, that department or that head just maybe doesn't necessarily fit in that cog of the machine, and in turn continues to not even want to give up power or bring other people in that might have a better creative mind for those things. So, just because one production company does something great on one end definitely doesn't mean that they will do great in regards to the other aspect of it. And I think we can see that visibly when it comes to Sony. But it is odd. It is odd. Jessica Fryman, what are you looking forward to seeing in the new season of X-Men 97? Do you think we could possibly see the 90s Spider-Man and 97 team up again? No, I don't believe so. I mean, maybe you can get away with a team up episode. I don't know if we would see that in season 2 or not. It seems like season 2's got a lot going on for X-Men 97 right now with all the Apocalypse stuff that they certainly have. Especially with the team split up through different time periods. So it seems as though they're going to be very much focused on that. I don't really know what I'm expecting or what I would like to see from X-Men 97. Definitely give me the 4 Horsemen of Apocalypse. I definitely want to see how that turns out for them. I wouldn't mind some teases at the Age of Apocalypse. from that classic comic book run if they wanted to go kind of that route a little bit. But maybe new costume designs, new characters introduced, I think would be fun. I'm pretty open-minded. I'm just more focused on the concern of the storyline. I just hope that the characters and stuff are true to form for where they were from season 1. But as far as like a Spider-Man 90s, no, I don't see that happening. Maybe there's a brief team-up episode come like season 3 or something like that after these time traveling shenanigans in season 2. But I don't see Spider-Man 90s anytime soon. Just because, again, I think I mentioned this before. We already have the Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man animated series. To have 2 animated Spider-Man anything going on at once just doesn't make any sense to me. But I think you could get away with a 90s Spider-Man in an X-Men crossover. But again, maybe not this season. But I think that will do it. I'm going to refresh this just to make sure I'm not missing any comments. Sort this again. But yeah, I think we got everybody here. Awesome. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yep. We got everybody's comments. Awesome. Thank you guys for everybody participating in today's live viewer questions and all the incredible comments that you've had throughout today's episode. We will be back later on next week. There are a couple things you should probably know. I am working on trying to get me a refurbished PC that has more speed than my laptop. I'm going to try and get that here within the next month or so, if at all possible. I may have to purchase a brand new computer monitor, but we'll see. I'm expecting Stuart back at least within the next 2 weeks or so. Next week, I do believe is the 1st of February. I don't know if Stuart's going to be ready to come back just yet. I need to talk with him a little bit, but maybe Stuart might return next week or maybe the following weekend. I'll keep you guys posted. I'll try and see if I can find another co-host for us for next week, though. Look out for any videos here on our YouTube page. I think I posted 2 this week. We talked, I think I had a live video. Was that, maybe that was last week? I don't remember. I know we talked a little bit about He-Man earlier this week for you guys, and I also posted a video in regards to a Voltron update if you want to check out the YouTube channel. So I did post a couple of videos this week. Maybe I'll post a couple more videos this week also, depending on some of the big news that winds up dropping throughout the week. Maybe if we get some big trailers, maybe I'll give you guys my thoughts and reviews on them separately from A+ Hero Report. So expect some new content this week, along with a brand new live episode of A+ Hero Report next Sunday. Also, what else? Star Wars. Again, I talked about this at the beginning, but I want to reiterate. We are planning on trying to do a Star Wars podcast, its own separate show that will be hosted here on A+ Hero Report's YouTube channel, along wherever else you can find your podcast at. It's going to be myself, Stuart, Crystal Kyber, from her YouTube channel, along with Will Polk from Scene and Nerd from their YouTube channel and their podcast. Our High Council will be getting back together for Maul, the Shadow Lord animated series. So we'll be giving you guys reviews on a weekly basis, and hopefully doing some level of like Star Wars news as well, either weekly or bi-weekly for you guys, to keep you guys up to date. We would like to try and gain a lot of traction for that, as we would personally like to try and attend Star Wars Celebration in 2027. So we're going to need everybody's help to spread the word, get some recognition to our channel and to our videos, and really build a Star Wars community around here as well. But maybe have some more movie reviews for you guys later on this week. Check us out over on TikTok if you haven't done so yet, at Hero Report. We're on TikTok at Hero Report. I'm trying to get used to, not only do we do new comic book day hauls over there, we post a bunch of movie trailers, behind the scenes stuff for you guys, and I also want to start getting used to posting my report cards for movies that I see throughout the week or throughout the month. Any new movies that I check out in theaters, I'm going to be filling out a report card and giving you guys a brief 5 to 7 minute review for them over on my TikTok channel. So check that out over there also. And then maybe might end up doing just a movie review in general for you guys here on the YouTube page. So tons of stuff there. If you want to follow us anywhere else on social media, right over here at A Plus Opinions. Very active over on Facebook. That's one of our main pages separate from our YouTube page. That's where we post all the news throughout the week, brand new exclusive first looks, trailers, posters, any insightful information that drops about your favorite fandoms and franchises. That's where we post our news at. And then at the end of the week, we take 6 topics from there and we talk about them here on our YouTube channel at Hero Report. And then, yeah, follow us anywhere else on social media if you'd like to at A Plus Opinions. But that will do it for me today here, guys. I will certainly see you guys next week. Enjoy the weather wherever you're at. Stay safe. If your power is down because of the snowstorm, please stay warm, stay huddled. Be careful out there, each and every one of you, if you have to travel in this hot mess or cold mess that's out there right now throughout this weekend. It's, believe it or not, it has snowed here in North Texas. It's more of a combination of ice covered by sleet and snow, so the kind of treacherous around here. But wherever you're watching us at, be safe, guys. Enjoy the playoffs today, the championships for the divisions. Going on to the Super Bowls, and we'll certainly talk more about all this next week. But until then, do me a big favor, as always, guys. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and keep it A+. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.